Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am Crispy, and I sense it's time for some Attack on Hex Island. How's everybody doing? Jump into the call here and bring the devs in. Hello, hello. Hey, how are you guys? Thank you, thank you. Just making sure that you guys are coming through. Chat, can you guys hear the developers? Guys, go ahead and say something.
Say something.
Introduce yourselves.
Well, I'm Drums. I'm the lead designer, graphic-wise or sound-wise of the game. So hi.
Okay, sweet. They can definitely
and
hear
I'm struggling with the mute button.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm Nelson. I'm mainly working with gameplay and calling myself lead programmer, but it's just the two of us. So we wear many hats.
Yep.
My main questions too, so it's just the two of you. Oh wow, that's very impressive. This is
We make it work.
Yeah, it's a very, I mean, it seems incredibly polished compared to a lot of indie games I've played, and I've played a lot of indie games, so I'm like, wow, this is really impressive that it's just two of you guys. It's like, I'm blown away personally. So, and the just how you've came up with this concept is incredibly impressive to me too. Like, can you speak to that at all? Like, how do you? Because it's almost like chess. Like, how do you? How did you come up with the strategy? And like, how do you like? Is it an algorithm, or are you guys just geniuses? Like, how does this work?
Yeah, the game just learns and adapts itself and just keeps writing itself every single day.
Really?
Nah, I'm just kidding.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, it all started back in summer of 2020. I was confused if it's one or two, but it's two. It's 2022, where Mark Brown from Game Maker's Toolkit hosts his annual game jam, and the theme for that jam was roll of the dice. Now, sadly, that time Drums could not join, but he did manage to get together with me and just kind of go over an idea. And the first thing that came to my mind was, hey, you know that there's a lot of random chance in the game of Tetra Masters, but you don't really understand what's going on behind the scenes. And I love the game, but I just don't know how do you win. And I thought, what if you just roll a six-sided dice to determine your attack power rather than trying to figure out everything in the back end. So we kind of went that route, and we had bought a couple of assets. I think it was called like cute creature packs from the Unity store, and they looked like Pokemon, right? They were just like Pokemon, and I thought, why not use those? And let them evolve, you know. And so it kind of took from there. That's where it started.
Yeah, and once we decided to go, once we went beyond the game jam and we said, hey, let's do more with this idea. The first thing we thought of was the shape of the cards / tokens, whatever you want to call them. And then once we thought about it, we're like, you know what, hexagons would allow for more variations, more angles, and it'd be a little more complex, but it might also be a little easier to see because in Tetramaster, you had to work with the corners, but the corners were a little funny because you're putting squares against squares, and so it's not really like, you know, a side that's lined up or anything. So it might be hard to notice those things. So this makes it very obvious that there are six sides, and so we thought it might work a little nicer.
Okay. Yeah, it's just like the concept just blows me away. I've never played the Tetramaster at all, and then when I first did the quick look of this game, I was like, okay, I get this. This is cool. And I think I had the same thought that Joe from Fox Hollow Games had too, where at first it kind of felt like it was going to be a roguelike, and then when you really get into it, you're like, oh no, like you're like going through a story and you're like building a team and everything, and I'm like, okay, I get this, but then like it took me by surprise when I got to a point where it's like, oh wow, like it ramped up. You know, like and there's real consequences when you lose. So it gets scary, but like in a good way. Like you get that adrenaline rush, and like I didn't think I could feel that from a card game.
Yeah, it's nice to hear people say like, "Oh, I'm scared to bring this guy in because I really like him. I don't want to lose him." You know, it's
Oh
like, yeah,
yeah,
that's what we want. We want that like balance of, well, what do I do? Who do I bring in and risk losing versus they're stronger, so I need them. You know.
oh yeah. Like
Yeah.
I have so many of these characters. Like where was my favorite one? I know there's going to be a delay on the stream, but well, I just got this duck, and this guy's just hilariously adorable, and I don't want to ever use him now because I don't want to ever lose him.
Mm.
And I only have one of
Yeah.
these koalas, and these guys are amazing too. So
So the interesting thing is that, this all started actually with like a tabletop game. Like I went to Staples, I printed the tokens out, I laminated them, and I went to Jump's house and I said, hey, let's do a round, like real dice and everything. And we asked ourselves the question, is it like a party-based game, like a regular RPG where you build a party, you level them up, you grow and you move forward? And we kept telling ourselves, no, this is more of a like a deck builder, right? You just bring in the best cards for the battle. Everything is expendable. You're going to be changing your party often, right? That was the idea, and that's how we started. And we played through it. It's like, yep, you're going to be changing your party every single battle. But then when we started to watch other people play, we realized that for the most part, people want to build a party. They don't want to change their tokens. They want to keep them. And like you said, right? I don't want to lose them,
yeah,
which is completely different than what we expected the game to be.
isn't that fascinating too? How that can happen too, right? Like you had like this whole concept in mind, but like just people play things differently, and it just changes things, right?
Right, right. So we kind of started to lean more towards that. Originally their passive abilities was anybody can have them, right? So you just got to find the token that had the art style that you like, the type that you like, the arrows that you like, and all that stuff. But then we lean more into like, no, this is your party, so let's give every single one of them their own individual ability and make them unique, which goes completely against what we originally were working on. But it's fun.
It's cool too because a lot of the stuff that I do personally on my channel is I look at games and I go, how can I turn this into a challenge run? And I've already had some ideas that I'm not entirely sure would actually work with this game, but like I've actually thought, I'm like, can you do an entire run, or at least right now because it's all story based, can I beat like an entire board without switching my team, or can I beat an entire board with only using green? Like it's making me think of different ways to play the game already. And then that kind of just leads into my next question is what do you think is or what are your guys' plans for the future of the game? If you feel
Yeah,
like
so we're
you want to
working.
disclose that, yeah. That is.
Yeah, no, no, no. Eventually, I've been thinking of releasing some sort of a roadmap, but we're kind of. I think Drums agrees on this. So the next big thing that we're working on is PvP, and we have something we've been testing it, but it's just not ready to show it right now.
Mm,
Especially because we want to make sure it integrates well with Steam and allows you to play fairly the same experience that you get in single player. Right? There's always going to be some sort of a delay, so we're working with that. So that really is the next big thing on our plate. But one idea that I am playing around with, which kind of goes back to what you said a little bit earlier, and Fox mentioned this, or Joe from Fox Hollow Games mentioned this, is that idea of a roguelike. What would this look like if I give you a mode, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where you can start with a party and that's your party. And as you play through, you have the ability to change that party, but you don't have an inventory, you know, and if you lose, that token is gone forever. And there's only so many times that you can lose before you get game over. You know, that kind of idea has been thrown around, but we don't have anything concrete yet because we're kind of focusing on getting PvP out first
Oh,
before we can explore that.
yeah, I think that sounds like a great way to go is definitely PvP first, because that will get more interaction, and it'll be, you know, something that we could all do with our communities and stuff. But a roguelite mode, like I can definitely imagine a roguelite mode working really well. You just see how far you can get through the entire story that you've already built. I mean, I don't think I can view the full map, but the full map is a hexagon. So I think that's the closest we can see of the full map there. And what is there, 7 stages, 8 stages?
Per region?
Like environments, I guess.
Oh,
What is it?
There's 7 regions. We call them regions.
Regions, okay. So yeah, so like if you would do a roguelite mode, the only way you would get new cards is by coming here to the shop and buying booster packs, and then you would have to build your deck based off the booster packs, and then just try to get as far as you can with those random cards, but still having that concept of losing your token if you lose a match too. So like that could be pretty incredible.
The biggest problem that we would run into, I think, would be, well, you know, the NPCs are set up very deliberately. Like, if you run, even if they were randomized, right? But you run up to a guy who's all grass, well, you're like, well, I need fire. So do I have that in my arsenal? And how do we allow the flexibility of you to swap out a party, but then also like, you know, say, well, this is your party, you know, make it more roguelike and make it like this is what you chose. You have to go with this, but every level is different. And the whole point is that you swap everything out as you go through. But as I've been playing and testing the game, every time I play, going back to what you said about like, how do you play it differently and make it challenging? I do that every time I like play through the game and test it. And the last one I did was I chose my guys, and then I never went to the store. I never bought a booster pack. I only could use what I looted. And then I would always choose the 6 best tokens, even best meaning level. So even if they weren't best for the typing, I still chose them just to see what I could do with that. And then in the battle itself, I went from left to right, top to bottom in the tokens and used them in order no matter what. I had to use them in a specific order. And if I couldn't attack anything, well, then I couldn't attack anything. Then I go for a defensive move. And I was like, well, you know what? Maybe there's like little things like this as I play that we could put in a roguelike like that, or certain rules. And that's how I'm trying to discover those, is just playing in different ways.
Oh yeah, definitely. That sounds like it would. Yeah, like I could see that working. I could see what was the idea that I had? I just it's complicated for me to try to show gameplay and have the discussion at the same time because it's so intense. But yeah, I lost my train of thought, so I'll just go back.
How far have you played of the game? That's my question. I don't even know how much into it you've gotten.
Yeah, this is the farthest I've gotten, is right here where where Blake is at. Yeah, so like I know it gets even more intense than this, right?
Yeah, I want to watch you play the first level of the next region. I don't know if we'll get there, but I'm interested to see.
I hope I can get there. Like and that was like kind of the way that I was playing at first too. Like I was always taking note of how many they have, how many I have, and then like sometimes trying to play defensive instead of going all in. Like when I first started, I'm like, oh yeah, let's go all in, let's take everything down. But then obviously you're trying to pay attention. Like, oh, if I put this guy here, then he's got the chance of taking me from what, 3 different sides without even a fight. Like that's brutal. But like right here, it's only 2 sides. Or if I can go hide in a corner, you know, like there's all these crazy things.
I have to say, if there's one thing in this game that it still astonishes me as I continue to play, it's that. It's like you could literally play this in so many ways, and I keep discovering different ways. And I don't mean like a big technique, I just mean move by move is so different.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm moving because I know, oh, I know he doesn't have an up arrow because if he did, he would have attacked me here. So he doesn't have that. So let me do this. Or, if I move here, he's gonna ruin my plans down the road, that kind of thing. And it is amazing because different people, they play in different ways. Either they just go for it, they attack, they go for the risk, or they think there's the perfect move where like they won't be able to touch me. But yeah, overall, it's pretty interesting how many ways there are to play a match.
Yeah, and it was something that I wasn't grasping the concept of right away either too, that the only way to chain collect guys was the making sure they connect on the arrows, and that's not your guys' fault because I'm pretty sure it was explained in the text pretty well. I just wasn't paying enough attention, I think.
Oh,
You,
you mean
you
how
can still go to the guidebook.
Yeah, because you
the
always have
And the
access
rules
to
are
that. Yeah.
you mean when you have to battle the combo?
Yeah, like how in order to get a combo, you have to make sure that the arrows are all attaching to another arrow. They can't just be attaching to an open spot.
No, see, that's wrong.
Oh, that's wrong?
Yeah, they can. Or are you saying to the starting battle? Because the combos can happen through the arrows no matter what they're pointing to.
Like if I
But you
play,
have
well, see, there's too much of a delay, so there won't be a way for you to really
you
verify.
have to roll dice for the combos to start. I don't know if
Hmm.
that's what you meant.
No, I mean like if I play this bird right here and I win this battle, it's not gonna combo this guy and this guy and this guy and this guy. It's only gonna combo the one because this guy's not
Correct.
part of the battle because he doesn't have an arrow. And this guy doesn't
Right.
either, I don't think. Yeah. So that's what I meant. Like the combo system wasn't 100% clear to me at first, even though you guys did a good job explaining it. Oh, it did combo that guy. See, I was confused. Still. And I got destroyed. But I knew that was going to happen.
Really, it's funny because even though I made sure the writing, I even updated it a couple times, but it still gets overlooked. And I say the loser of a battle. So I start there. It has to be a loser of a battle, meaning dice was rolled. And if the loser of the battle is pointing to its allies, you get them. That's it. It's not about where the arrows are, other than the losing token. He needs to be pointing to them. But then the ones that he's pointing to, it doesn't matter what their arrows are, they get captured. And it's a one combo. It doesn't keep going. There's no chains. That's it. So I try to write it out and get that all in one sentence, but sometimes it's missed, and I'm not sure how.
It's just...
I think personally, it's one of those things where you just have to play the game, right? You can tell somebody 100 different ways how to play the game, but it might not click until you start to actually play it. And there's so much information going on here that, we've been playing for 2 years. We know the rules inside. I wrote the rules, so I know exactly what to expect.
Mm-hmm.
But somebody who's for the first time jumping into the game, they need to try out a couple of things. And that's what I love seeing. I've seen some people actually say, I want to experiment. I might lose, but I want to try it out. I want to see what's going to happen. And that's how they really get into the game. So it's good that you can do that in a safe environment, by which I mean, even if you were to lose all your tokens to the very first guy that you fight on the beach, you get them back. We wanted to make sure that you were able to proceed into the game, and you lose those tokens, but you get some new ones. They're not the best tokens. You don't want to go that strategy. They're not going to be the best that you can always get. That's going to come from looting and from buying at the store. But at least you're not thrown out of the game and you don't have to go all the way back to the beginning. We wanted to avoid that.
That's really good too. Then yeah. And then you said you've been playing it for 2 years. Has the game been in development for 2 years?
Yes, since 2022. Like pretty much after the jam, we started to brainstorm some ideas. This is a project that we do on our spare time. So I wish we would have had more time for it, but at the same time, the slow process has allowed us to really concentrate on the ideas, like let them sit for a while and figure, do we like it, play with them for a longer time. So it's one of those, like, I wish we would have had more time to work on it and be farther along, but at the same time, the slower process has allowed us to ask ourselves the question, is this really the direction that we want this game to go?
And so then by your spare time, you mean you guys work for another company, like a bigger company, or how
Yep, we're
is
going
this
9 to 5.
Okay, so this is like a side project game for you guys.
Yep.
Yes.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, so we say 2 years, but I mean, I think there was like even I don't know, a few months of a break in there. You know, we took some breaks from the game. We did like a game jam in between and things like that. So, yeah, I mean, we had some breaks, but overall, it's been, I think, 2 years.
Yeah, I can't tell you the total programming time, although I think Steam says that I've been playing the game for 234 hours.
Oh, wow.
So maybe that's been the development time.
Possibly, right? Yeah. Oh,
Right.
man. I hate when they get those combos on me. Oh, that was crazy. I was not ready for that. Let me see here.
How do we put that this is live on the actual Steam page since you bought the game? Well, does it have to be from the developer? That's the one thing that I haven't learned. We kind of cool. Anybody that's going to the page, the Steam page right now can see that you're live.
I do not know, yeah. Maybe it doesn't have integration with YouTube either because I only stream on YouTube.
Gotcha.
That might be a thing. I don't know, because Twitch is kind of the streaming capital of the universe, but I don't like Twitch because it's so hard to get discovered there. So
yeah,
and so hard to get your VODs saved if you're not partnered. So I prefer
don't do that. Don't
YouTube.
do that. Don't do it. Do it. No, not that. No, just kidding.
I don't know which one you're watching. I'm like, I know there's a delay, so like I think I've already made the mistake you're telling me not to make.
Go, but quench that fire. Yeah.
I have such bad luck against this guy right now. Like I'm having a rough time.
Oh, I was gonna say that fire end. You could have put the helmet on the fire end and gotten at least 5 cards there.
Oh, yeah. Really? Oh, wow. See, yep. That's my brain though. Like this is definitely a game that you really have to focus. I feel like, and you can do incredible things with. And if you're playing casually, you could still do it too. But I mean, oh yeah, and I forgot about that too. So some of the guys have abilities, right? Especially when they evolve.
Oh, I would have gone for fire.
He got all excited because he was next to his buddies, so he got a bonus. So that's like a thing too, right?
Yeah, right.
And we can view that in here.
That's probably the biggest challenge with these games, and Drums can talk about that because these are his designs. You know, I may have helped with some ideas, but these are all his designs. So there was a couple of rules, right? If you're going to add a new design, well, every single other element has to also have a new design to it because we wanted to keep them the same amount, right? So if we add a new water, then you need a new grass, a new normal, and so on and so forth. And then it became also, but they have to have their own unique ability. And it can be complex, and it can be used against you as well, right? When the token gets flipped, like for example, Chibu that you're looking at right now, I know the stream is delayed, but at one point right now that you were looking at Chibu, he can't be captured unless you battle him or you win him through a combo.
Oh capture. Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Right. So fantastic. I can leave my areas without arrows, and I know that he's safe. He won't get captured. But if he does get captured, now I can't get him back. You know. So we always wanted to have that back and forth. Of every single ability has a pro and a con, and so you got to take that into consideration. As long as that token is in your hand, it's great for you. But once it stops being in your party, then now it's against you, you know?
Exactly. Let's see if so then what is so do you guys forgive me if I missed this information, but if this is your side project, what's your main jobs? Are they in game development as well?
I'm a software engineer.
Oh, okay.
And I do email marketing.
Oh, okay. And so then, what got you guys
Yeah, so
interested in game development in the first place? Then.
that's what I went to college for. I study game design. But then after college, I realized that everything that I learned was barely enough to get an internship, and an internship does not pay for food and rent. So I had to get a real job.
I just seen someone building something in the Game Maker, and I just thought it was really cool. I've been making things in a digital environment for so long, 3D animation. I do editing. I do all kinds of things. And so I was like, man, game design would be awesome. And so I just messed around in Game Maker, a little, flimsy thing that's just kind of like a, top level, surface level thing. But it was fun. And I just kept doing that. And then, then we just started making game jams together once we both realized we both do games.
Yeah.
So basically, the way that it started. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, I was just gonna ask. So yeah, how did you guys meet?
Yeah, so we met through a mutual friend, and then Drums showed me like, hey, I have this little game idea, and I looked at it and I realized it was really unique, right? That's what I liked about Drums, that he wasn't like, let's do a first-person shooter because everybody's doing a first-person shooter, or let's do a horror game with a creature that stalks and stuff like that. He's always looking for, how do we stand out? How do we do something that nobody has done, or how do we take the idea into a different direction? So I love that. And then on top of that, he does the artwork, and I like the artwork. I was like, man, this is really cute. I like it. There's a lot of things that we can explore with. And so that kind of planted a seed. And I said, hey, I do a little bit of programming, but we kind of left it at that. A couple of years passed by, and I started to watch videos on game jams. Oh, I never participated in a game jam, and there's the big one, the Ludum Dare, or that was gonna be happening. And I thought, hey, Drums, do you want to do a game jam? Do you want to actually do a game and put ourselves in a situation where we have a deadline, we have a theme, and all that stuff just to get something done? And he's like, sure, I'll do it. But then browsing YouTube, Mark Brown from Game Maker Still Kid was hosting his very first game jam, and I've been watching his videos and I like his content, and I said, hey, check this guy out, tell me if you like it, maybe we should do his game jam. And so that's how it started. It was just like a very random thing on a weekend. I said, hey, this thing is happening next week, do you have time to do this in 48 hours? And so we did, and realized that we worked really well together, because while Drums focuses on having a gimmick that it's easy to understand and multiple uses with it, I focus a lot on the gameplay. How do we explain this to the player? How do we make it really intuitive? How do we make it... Sometimes that even involves a lot of killing your darlings. We might like this design a lot, but we realize that people are struggling with it. And so I'm like, we got to change it. Like, it makes no sense. So for example, in this game is the icon for the rock type. For the longest time, it was this pentagon that was red, and every single person that looked at it was like, what's a red pentagon? What kind of element is that? And we just couldn't figure it out. And finally, I was like, Drums, I'm sorry. I know the pentagon, you love it, but we got to make it into a rock. And he's like, but the rock looks like poop. I'm like, well, let it look like a poop emoji, but at least it will look like a rock. So.
Oh, he was right on that one. He was right on that.
So you mean when people would look at this map, they couldn't determine that this was a rock at first?
No, it was
if you go to the guide.
Oh, guide. Okay. Oh, whoops.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, if you go to the guidebook, you can see the elements page.
It wasn't under here. It was under the other. I know where you're talking about now. I hit the wrong
you're gonna go to the tutorial now.
Yeah, I hit the tutorial. And like, wait a second, that's not what you meant. I know what you meant now. Yes, forfeit.
But yeah, that is a good example of, do I want people to maybe once in a while think that it looks like poop? Like that's the issue wasn't that. It's not about what they think it is because they know it's not poop. Even if they were to say that, right? They know it's a rock and they just
Yeah.
think it looks like something else. Versus what the heck is a red pentagon? I don't understand what that even means. Why does grass beat it? Why does water beat it? What does the pentagon mean? You know. So I think it's just one of those things that, like, yeah, it's worth it. We just
Like
want the player to understand what it is.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, I feel like that looks perfectly like a rock. I don't see poop at all. I think it looks great.
Yeah,
quiet,
it is poop
quiet
rock.
lawmaker. Yeah, quiet down, lawmaker. Poop rock.
No, we've been trying to kind of like showcase the. I try my best to do the process. You know, I try the whole YouTube thing to doing the devlog and all that stuff. And what we found real quick is that I can explain this game in 5 minutes, and then that's it. There's nothing more to add other than maybe we change the graphics and all that stuff. But it's been good to see the progression of it. You know, I look at the old videos and I see what the tokens look like. And I remember at one point we made the decision to move the number of their level and their element to the bottom left and right corners. And at first it took us by surprise because they always have been in the middle of the token below the avatar themselves. They're very clear to see they're right there. But when we started to add abilities, we're like, where are we going to put the abilities at? So we had to make space for them. And when you make a change after you've been working on something for months, it always looks weird at first. And you kind of question, like, did we do the right thing? Because you get used to the old way. But then you see somebody else play who has never played the game and they get it. They can see the information, they can read it clearly. And so long as that's happening, that's what we're always going to go towards. Like, is it clear? Does it make sense? Can you derive to a conclusion without having to explain to you what it is?
Yeah, and that's just crazy that you have to think all that through too.
Yeah. Yeah, this is gonna sound weird, right? Because I'm a problem solver, so all those who are in the chat that are problem solvers, maybe you understand. I like to think about taking all that complexity and hiding it from the player. There's a lot of stuff happening behind the scenes that you would never see, and the game looks simple because of it, right? And that's what I want. I want you to come out and not feeling overwhelmed. So when Drum sets here, other people playing the game, and the first thing that they say before they jump in is, I don't play these type of games. They require too much thought process. They're not really accessible. I just don't want to even give it a go. But because you've been so kind, so nice, I'll go ahead and do it. And then they play through the whole game and they end up saying, hey, this was really fun. This was really great. I didn't want to stop. Then we know that we've done something right.
Definitely. Like, and it really is. It's something that, like, you don't, I don't know, like when I watched the trailer for it originally, I'm like, yeah, this looks like this could be fun. And then when I started playing it, I'm like, yep, I'm addicted. Like, it's incredibly unique and fun. And then, like, these evolutions, I still haven't even experienced a lot of these evolutions yet. And that's really cool. Okay, wait. Why does it tell me? It tells me his ability, but it doesn't tell me my ability. How do I unlock the abilities? Are the abilities always there for evolutions and they're just hidden, or what? Because this guy's ability shows up, or does it have to specifically drop as a card like that?
He actually has the ability, so that's why it only shows when they can use it.
Oh, okay. But it is hidden until you have it active.
Right. Yes, you won't see what they can do when they have an ability. It's only if they have that ability, just to show that they're going to use it in battle. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like the hex text will give you the information, but not here.
Yeah, because that's what I was noticing, that it was showing me before, but then, like, right now, this is the first time I've noticed when I hover over it, it's telling me the ability from his card, but mine's the exact same card, and it's not telling me the ability. So I'm like, oh wait, is that two different things, or is it just because it activated, like you said? So that's why we got to see it.
Yeah, so everything is unlockable, right? There's a random chance that you'll have the ability, right? The same thing with the arrows and all that stuff. So that's why that's part of the strategy, right? You might go into this battle and say, I already have that ant, but this ant has the ability and I want that ability. So now you have to make the decision of whether you go and capture it so that it's available to you at the end and so on and so forth.
I'm just not having
Things
any
aren't looking
luck.
too good right now.
No, yeah, I'm doing.
I don't blame you. You're talking to us, so it's easy to.
I know I couldn't do that at all.
I'm trying so hard. I'm like, I wrote down like a
I
list
could-
of questions, which you guys have pretty much already answered without me asking half of them too, which was pretty cool. And then I'm like trying to think at the same time, and I'm like, oh no, I look like I told you guys this was gonna happen.
Your best bet
Yeah,
is probably
well-
just to like trump everything. If you see a fire, throw water at
Yeah.
it. See grass, throw water at. I mean, throw fire at it. I know how to do it.
Yeah,
Right.
like.
Yeah, so one thing that I want to make sure it's clear is that this isn't our first game, right? From the perspective of
I
we've
got
never
confused.
touched an engine. Yeah. So
Yeah.
this isn't our first game. It's not like the first time that we touched an engine or try to figure out how to make a game. It's not. But what it is our first commercial game, right? Something that goes beyond a weekend and you play for 20 minutes and you're done. And so what I noticed, at least, maybe Jerome's experience was different, is at the very beginning of the project, you should battle against that frog, by the way. Maybe that way will give you some advantage. And I put it below so that you can also capture right there. And then fight the frog.
Well, it draws better than I've been doing, so. I didn't lose anything from that one.
At the start of the project, and this is true of any project you start, right? You're passionate, you're on fire, everything is new, everything is coming together, and then you get over that hill where it's like, is the game done? I mean, the basic idea is there. I kind of just want it to be done. So when we first started, it felt like a game jam. It felt like putting together something for the weekend, and so we were moving fast, we were moving quick, and then we slowly started to realize, where's the content of this game? Like, what is the identity of this game? What do you do, and how do you take it beyond the battles? And what's the story about? What do you do outside of battles? How do you, what's the purpose of you moving forward? In college, I had a professor that told me, whatever game you do, always give the player a reason to play it. And I thought, oh, it's because it's fun. It's like, no. I mean to say, like, what's the motivation of the character? Why are they moving from room to room, from level to level? Why are they picking that gun and shooting it? Or why are they creating a party? Or why are they trying to save the world or whatever? Like, what's my motivation for moving forward? So we had to, like, think beyond that. And that's when things kind of became real for me. When I realized I can't just build it in 48 hours. We got to sit down. We got to think about it. It's okay for time to pass by. I keep thinking we're failing because it's been a month, 2 months, 3 months, and the game is not done. Because again, we've been doing, at that time, what was it, Drums? Like 5 years of game jams? Yeah. So it was overcoming that. And even still, a year ago, I told Drums, hey, we got to put it on Steam. We got to make this real, otherwise we'll never finish it. Like, we got to put a deadline. And he's like, no, we're not ready. We don't even know what the story is. I don't know. We'll figure it out. And so it's been that balance of a self-imposed deadline to help us produce, just help us come with the decisions on the design, right? Because otherwise, if you don't have a deadline, at least this is what I discovered. If you don't have a due date, you'll never finish it because there will always be a better way to do something and there will always be something that you want to add. But if you do have a due date, then it's easier to say, we don't have time to implement that. So what's the alternative, right? What can we cut or what can we add and move from there?
So that's good that you give yourself an ultimatum, basically, to make sure that you constantly have motivation like that. And with Steam having the early access program, it just is very perfect for you guys, right?
Right. Yeah. Drums, I was hoping that you speak more to it since you're the one that has been actively engaging with the Twitch community. Like, how does early access have helped you?
Yeah, no, I mean, every single time someone plays the game, it's just great feedback, even if they don't say anything. I mean, it's I can even read their body language or cursor language, if you want to call it, what they're doing on screen without even talking. I get to see the patterns and behaviors, and so yeah, it's been a huge help. Every time we jump back in the game and make tweaks, I always let Nelson know, like, this is what I've been seeing, this is what people automatically think or do or want to see, and let's tweak a little bit if it lends itself to it and make the experience better for everyone. I do have a question for you. Do you notice the red and green swords when you go to hover your token over to battle?
I have noticed that, but only recently. What does that mean?
That's the trumping. That says that you're gonna get trumped or you're gonna trump, and it's just one of those things I don't see. I don't think a lot of people notice it.
Okay.
And that was before I even added the flashing. I added a flashing green and red because no one was noticing it, and still nobody seems to point it out. And so I'm just curious if you did.
So what's the neutral icon mean here? This purple swirl. What does that mean? Oh, well, that means that I'm taking it over no matter what, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I just realized what I'm looking at. And then white is what? That's not gonna chain at all, right?
It's just no trumping.
No trumping.
The color
okay.
is just So normal.
And then the
swords
green
just means you're
is
gonna fight.
I
And
will
the green
trump.
means you'll trump. So that was my thing. Was if you just go by the color while we're talking, you probably you most likely will win if you just go by the color and look for the green.
Okay, yeah, that's much more helpful now. Thank you. It's my community could attest to the fact that they want to start a glasses fund for me. So
Right there. Go right there. Do it right there.
Right here.
It's right there. No, that's always been how do I put it? At the very beginning, when we first started streaming, or not streaming, but asking streamers to play the game and watching them play, as a programmer, I think my biggest concern was, is it going to break? Is it going to break? Is it going to break? Right? And so every single time I watch them play, it's okay, is it going to show the right numbers? Is it going to do the right thing? And all that stuff. And after a while, and I realized that wasn't happening and the game was behaving and all that stuff, I was able to then start looking at what can we do gameplay-wise to help things just feel better. And you mentioned something along the lines of, does this mean that I'm going to combo or something like that? And we thought about those things, right? How much information do we give the player? How do we let you know that if you put the token here, you're going to battle this guy, you're going to capture these two guys, and so on and so forth. And we could potentially add all that information in there. But what we don't want to do is have players just move their tokens around the board to see what highlights, and then just putting it there based on what they see looks favorable, right? Because that's not fun. We want you to think about your moves. We want you to think about whether the decision that you're making is going to yield the results that you want to. Put some thought into it. Hey, you won.
Yeah, thank you so much for telling me to pay attention to the trumping. Holy crap, that made it all the difference in the world.
It's funny because that's one of those things that every time people read it's plus 10 boost with the trump, it's it's a huge amount, because I guess, a lot of games, something like that is just a little extra added on top. This make or breaks the battle. I mean, it's a huge boost, but that's what we wanted, because we wanted that Pokemon kind of advantage in there. We wanted it to be, that's what you look out for, is the trumping is a big part of it. So yeah.
Well, and that was something that, like you said, you notice my cursor. I keep highlighting over things because I keep forgetting what color does beat the other color, and or element beats the other element, and so that's why I would always double check. And little did I know that you put in a great feature that just lets you know that without you having to highlight over things. So But again,
Hey,
that's possibly just me being me, so I don't think it's
It's a lot. It's a
oh,
lot of people. I'm telling you.
is this
don't
a
feel
special
bad.
one?
I still do it myself.
Ooh, shiny.
That's a
Oh,
shiny. That's
shiny.
my first shiny. Look at that, guys.
Oh, I think you got the assistant.
That's awesome.
So
He looks
shiny, it's
cool.
a special. Drums, do you want to reveal the secrets of shiny, or you want to keep it hidden?
I mean, I'll give one of them away, which you can see on the screen. It's worth a lot more. That's probably the easiest one.
It's worth more to sell, okay. But you're saying they might have hidden abilities, is what you're
It has one other
hinting at.
thing that it's used for.
Okay. Well, will it tell me in the Hexadex now that I have a shiny? No, it doesn't say anything. Okay. Oh, I didn't know it did
will.
that. That's fun.
Yeah, you can click on them and change. Yeah.
That's cool. All right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the shine in the top left is the picture that shows you got it shiny.
Yeah, no, I realized that, but I'm like, when I clicked on it, like I was seeing if it came up and said any bonus effects or anything. But it does not,
yeah.
so it's secret.
It has to do with the tinkering, which you do have. Well, you have it unlocked.
Oh yeah.
But you have it fully unlocked yet.
Yeah.
So you won't be able to use it yet.
Yeah, there's all these additional things still. Like right now, I can just I do like that too. By the way, maybe it will eventually, but I noticed that there's no penalty for tinkering. Like you just keep clicking this as many times as you want. So
Don't get used to that.
yeah, I was gonna say I like that right now, but I can imagine it's because this is the first level, right? So like it's probably gonna cost gold at some point.
Yeah.
And
So
that makes sense.
Somebody earlier asked, "What's your favorite composition for battles?" And I was saying that I lean more into grass, but one of the reasons why is because of what you had right there. You had them sorted by type, and grass goes first. So I think naturally I lean towards grass because it's just there.
Oh, okay.
Plus that reroll ability is pretty sweet. Well,
I do like too, by the way, and I mentioned it in the quick look, but I am currently playing right now with a controller, and thank you guys so much. Like, it's not obviously the optimal way to play, probably. PC players, always talk about how much easier it is to play with a keyboard and mouse, but for my specific setup, the way I have everything is it's much more comfortable and much more easier for me to play any game with a controller. And I feel like the controller shortcuts, at least too, are incredible on this game. Like the fact that I can just hit the back button like I would for any other game to mess with the settings. And I can hit B to go right back in here to get right back to where I was. Or if I got to look at the map, I can hit B again and go to the shop with one button. Like I don't even have to use the cursor for everything, which is incredibly helpful. And I really wish more games would do that when they throw the controller option on there, kind of like as a last minute thing, it feels like.
Well, that's all Nelson there.
The story behind that is that Drums is mainly a PC gamer, and I'm mainly a console gamer. Like my dream since I was a teenager is I wanted to make a PlayStation 1 game kind of deal. And so when we got to play this, I was like, I don't understand this keyboard and mouse thing. And I do now, right? It's been 2 years, but back then I was like, I don't understand this keyboard and mouse thing. I want to pick up my controller and I want to move around and press the buttons. Like I know where the shortcuts are at. And so I remember spending a lot of time thinking about how much can you move with the D-pad and when do you actually have to control it with the analog stick? And because of the hexagon, that's a little bit, if it was squares, you can have a grid all the time, like here. When you go into the battle, how do you know that left is going to take you to this node, to that node? So that took some time to think about. But what I love is that it gives the opportunity, the accessibility to anybody that needs it, right? If it's hard for you to have your hands on the keyboard or the mouse, or and the controller is more comfortable, or you have a special controller that allows you to play games, that's what we wanted to make the game more accessible. And I feel like I have not given it as much attention to the controller in the last couple of months, so I definitely want to revisit. But if you say that it's playing well enough for you that you have no complaints, then I'm happy with that.
Oh, like I said, compared to the majority of indie games I play where they're like, "Oh yeah, sure, you can use your controller." And then I turn it on and I use my controller, and I'm like, What is this? What are you doing?" There's no options here, you know? Like that would be the only complaint, and it's not even a complaint. When you click on controls, there is only controls for cursor speed. There's no customizable options for the controller, which I know that's kind of like a thing some people want and like, but it doesn't bother me. I feel like you picked all the right buttons that make the most sense. Again, like you just said, you're a console player, so it makes sense, the buttons that you picked, because these are the buttons that I would use if it was on the console.
Right. Since there's a lot of influence of Final Fantasy here, I'm like, if I'm playing Final Fantasy, what button do I press to bring on the menu? What button do I press to attack or to cancel or to select? So yeah, that took. It was a lot of just putting something together and then play testing and finding myself stumbling over something. And I'll be like, hey, Drums, I know that it might make sense to make if you're using an Xbox controller, the A button do X or Y or Z. But when I'm in this specific scenario, in this menu, in this situation, I want A to do this behavior. So it was thinking a lot about that. It's like, you can't just have one button do one thing all the time. It kind of has to change based on the scenario. And you have to anticipate as best as you can what would the player try to do in this situation.
Who is the music designer? Because wow, it ramped up and got pretty awesome all of a sudden. This is a different vibe.
The boss music's actually the boss music's all the same, so you would have heard this when you fought the pirate dude.
Did I? Oh, I mean, I didn't notice it then. Huh. Yeah, because I fought two bosses, I think, right? I'm on the second stage. So only, no, I didn't notice it before then. Yeah, no, this is really, this is really good. All the music is really good. The other stuff is just very relaxing and like you're in the zone, and a lot of people find, you know, music to be incredibly important in games. And I'm not a huge music critiquer, so you won't hear me talking about stuff like that. It's just I just noticed the massive change right there. So I was like, wow, that's fun.
I mean,
like
one of
this.
the hardest things is to choose the music because you want it to be calming, because it's kind of like a calming game. There's no timer, you know, and it's relaxing. But then you're doing a battle. This is a battle, so we want the battle music. But you don't want it over the top if you're going to be sitting here for 5 minutes either. So yeah, it's a hard balance.
Okay. I'm remembering the Trump now.
You're gonna beat this guy first try.
It's what it's kind of feeling like, unless he does something.
I'm just concerned that you have 3s and he's getting 5 and 4s. But so far you're doing pretty well. Let's see how it all ends.
I feel like he's only got 2 guys left, right? So like, I feel like I just do this move, and I'm solid, right?
Yeah.
Or even I can even go hide in a corner somewhere probably, and he can't get me.
Right, but I feel like a lot of this. So it's always interesting to see how people play it, right? I think at the beginning when I started playing this game, I was very reactive, just thinking about, okay, what's the best move right now and what trumps right now. And now I'm more of a thinking ahead, like, oh, I might purposely put my weakest token that I know is vulnerable and will be captured on purpose, so that then I can get it back and get 2 tokens out of it and stuff like that. And that kind of thinking it can be challenging, just because until you play them, you don't know what they have, right? And we give you a hint as to what elements to expect, but at the same time, when you see 2 icons or 3 icons of elements, you don't know how many they have or what level they are and what era they are. We might not even know as the designers of the game, because everything gets generated on the fly. So there still is a challenge, even to me as a programmer, when I go fight somebody. And Drums puts these together, and he doesn't like to tell me. He wants to surprise me. So I go into a battle, and I don't know what to expect. I just have to remember the rules of the game.
That's
So we're
awesome.
always surprising each other.
So yeah, you guys are surprising each other. That's awesome. Because clearly there's a time zone difference, so you guys are working remote, right?
Right.
Has that been a challenge at all, or is that just something that
No,
is?
we're actually on the same time zone. It's just that right now I am away on a different time zone for a while, so it's only a challenge now. But we're always on the
Oh,
same
okay.
time zone. Yeah.
Okay.
Ooh, new booster packs.
Yeah, that's exciting. When before I unlocked the whole second stage, I was purposely saving all my gold because I'm like, I know there's gonna be another shop. I know there's gonna be better booster packs. I want these better booster packs. Like I kept waiting and waiting, and then I get there and it's just the individual booster packs. And I'm like, okay, well that's nice, but I guess I didn't need to save this much gold. And I was like hampering myself, to get through that whole first which region you guys call them regions. But yeah, now this is exciting to see a silver pack because I'm guessing that means that higher level guys in there.
Possibly.
Only one way to find out.
And there's
Have you?
always a possibility for rare and shiny cards to be in boosters as well.
Yeah, and the shinies can show up during a game too. The opponent can pull one out.
Oh wow! And then you could try to take it from them, right?
Yeah, and those are the heartbreaking ones when you can't grab it by the end of the game. So you actually can't collect it even if you win. It's sad.
Oh jeez.
So we got to
Ah.
Tostitos Land. This is my favorite. It's Dorito Land.
In Dorito Land. Yeah. Okay, I see what happens here. So now we still have options for all these packs, but you have the silver option. And then there's going to be a gold option. And then eventually there's going to be other elements. That's what these are for, right? So... well, no, we'll just try to win the next one here and get some more currency.
You have so many tokens. I've never seen so many tokens yet.
Well, again, because that's what I did was I saved all this gold, right? So I could buy all these packs. And I felt like it didn't really do me all that much justice because a lot of these top guys are ones that I've gotten in battles. They're not ones I got from packs. So
I would just expect you to sell all the lower ones. I'm just curious.
yeah, I've been thinking about that because like, right, how often are you going to use a 1, right?
Never
Like...
again.
Well,
I
okay,
don't know. It could be part of the tactic. It could be like, come on, capture this one so I can get it back.
That's true. That's true.
yeah, there's that, like throwing them out for fishing, you know, like you would call it in some games. Like, but yeah, we could get rid of some 1s and maybe open a
Oh, I
silver
wanted to
pack real
ask.
quick.
Have you gotten a perfect yet?
A perfect being...
Perfect score.
Oh, like
So
a
you-
100% capture rate or something?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
I think I mean that last game was pretty close, right? I missed it by
Yeah, it was.
1.
1 or 2, yeah.
Yeah. So it definitely seems feasible, at least. Oh wait, that's why, because my cursor's on there. Yeah, these 1s are worth nothing though.
Which
There
is
we-
why we put that select all there. You just click that beautiful select. And then sell all the...
Oh, and okay, it's saying 4 to 6, 1 to 3, 4 to 6. Okay, sweet. All right, well we're gonna take the variety pack. Dramatic music too, or the drum roll rather, you know. That's awesome. So these guys are already evolved too at this level. So, ooh, there might be even future evolutions too, huh? Like above
Maybe.
this tier. Yeah, that's interesting. Very cool. I just get excited about seeing more directions being covered because I don't want them to keep getting free pieces, you know. So
And that's another one of those things I forgot to mention earlier with, so many ways to play a match, is the arrow count. It's not necessarily that the more arrows the better, because if you have arrows that are exposed, well, now you can be comboed because you just took over something. So now they can go through the one you just placed and get two. And so it's like this balance of, 2 to 3 arrows is pretty good, and maybe four, But the more you have to play them strategically, or you're just giving the opponent more, ways to capture you.
Yeah, definitely. You have to really be. You have to be vigilant at all times. It seems like. This is interesting too. I don't know what this bomb icon means. So we're adding even more things as the game progresses, which is exciting and something that comes into the RPG element of the game as well. That the game keeps evolving and keeps telling more of a story and more things are happening, and that's really cool too. Keep hitting.
I'll share something about that icon once you see it in game, so I don't want to spoil anything just yet. But I am curious, of those who play the game, especially those in the chat that play the game, what tends to be your thinking behind the hand that you put together when you go into battle? And for you too, Crispy, like, what do you right now? You're putting a hand together. What's your thought process behind the tokens that you're choosing?
I'm always paying attention to what corners I'm missing. So like I realize I don't have I don't have any tops and I don't have any of this corner. So I'm like, okay, I got to make sure I find that because I want all my bases to be covered. And then I'm also, well, I have the fear. I'm like, oh man, I just got these 5s. I don't want to lose these guys right now. So like, this card looks awesome, but I don't want to play them right now. So I'm gonna wait, and by doing that, I'm gonna sacrifice a number, and I just hope that I can get through it. And I don't know if that's the right way to play, but that's like where my mindset is, where it's like I just got this guy. This guy looks really cool. I don't want to lose him, So I don't want to play him. And I don't know if that's a bad way to think of things. Like this guy, but I just feel like this guy's too powerful not to play. This Prickle Leon, this frog guy, that combo just sounds like a lot of fun. That I cannot not play this guy. Oh, and then I haven't played one of these guys in a while. That like this guy, I haven't even played him yet. You get more money when you play this guy, and that might be beneficial for buying packs right now. So there's all sorts of additional things and I guess it depends on what type of player you are, what goes through your head, So
yeah, and that's the flexibility that we want to try to capture, right? There is no right way to play this game. So when somebody say, "Hey, what should I do?" It's like, honestly, it depends on what you like. We've seen somebody, and they actually might be in chat, play the game strictly only capturing. Like, that's all they did. They would not battle. They did not want to battle. Battle was wrong, or bad or whatever. And I thought, okay, they're gonna have a really hard time. The game is gonna be really challenging. But it wasn't. It was still enjoyable to them. That's the strategy that they chose, and they made it work. And I love the fact that you can make it work, right? The game doesn't penalize you for not doing something. There's nothing that you need to do. You just play however you want to play.
I even actually put an achievement called Pacifist, where if you don't battle anyone and you just capture, then you get it. So yeah, all kinds of play style.
It doesn't tell me what these bombs do. I'm scared.
Nope.
Oh boy. Are there any questions from the chat? Is anybody in chat got any questions for the developers? I think you guys have kind of been paying more attention to chat than I have been able to, because I see you answering questions in there, Nelson.
I try to multitask. It's what I do for a living anyway, so it makes it easier. Yeah, I think I have my own question to answer, if you will.
Oh, what? That's what it does? Oh, man.
Oh, there you go. You found out.
That was evil. I thought, like, it's gonna be like a thing where, okay, you're forced to put it there, and now it's gonna hurt you. But like he was able to make a
Yeah.
combo into capturing me. Wow, that was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Right. And that's one of the strategies that I love the most. So I think one person once asked us how the AI works, and I'll give a little bit of behind the scenes
Yeah, you
on
don't want
that.
people to steal your tech, right? Yeah.
No, that's not about that. It's just, but it doesn't matter even if you know 100% how the AI works because you don't know what tokens they have. Neither do I. I have no idea what they have. Drums might know the ballpark of what they should have, and only he really holds that information, but he doesn't even know what level they will be and what arrows they have, right?
Right.
But one of the strategies that I love is when the AI purposely enters into a losing battle that's going to trigger a bomb. So they know they're going to get captured, and they do that on purpose so that when the bomb blows up, it flips back to their color. And I love seeing that every single time because it still gets me. I'm like, you fool, what did you do? And I'm like, oh, dang it, the bomb. So I even still get fooled by my own game. Like right there, how I just use the bomb in order to capture your token and then get itself back.
Yeah,
I
I
love those
was
things.
very scared right there though because I thought that meant that was gonna make this guy combo into taking back everything I just took, and I was very upset for a second.
Yeah.
But at least it didn't do that. So now I'm feeling semi-confident, except I don't have the right pieces to take what I want to take and be safe.
Yeah, so essentially the AI is pretty simple, right? It looks complex and all that stuff, and that's what I love it. Right? I love making things as simple as possible. But the AI will do exactly what you do as a human. What you're doing right now. Just examining the board, moving your token around, figuring out what the outcome might be. And then it makes a decision based on what seems more favorable in terms
wow.
of how many
You just
tokens
gave me
it
the
could
game.
potentially win. Yeah. You could try. But I'm saying, even if I tell you how it works, it wouldn't matter because you don't know what they have.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not like you can fight against it and be like, oh, I'm going to use it against them. It's like, maybe not.
And so that's another
So,
question too. So it's again with the unknown ability thing. But I've seen that some cards will be the exact same and have abilities. Like I've this fire guy over here. I have multiple of him, and they don't all have that ability. So will there be matching cards that some of them will have abilities and some of them won't? Is that just a thing? Or do they all have
Yeah,
hidden abilities?
well, I mean, the ability is they don't have an ability like as far as that will be their ability, right? So it's specific to them. And then there is a way later in the game to activate it on that token.
Okay.
So, but sometimes you'll find them already activated if that's what you want to call it.
Okay, so sometimes they'll already be doing their thing. Okay, I got you then. Wow, yeah, that just after you pointed that out to me, I just feel so much more confident about the game. Like the Trump
what?
icon.
Oh,
like,
the Trump. Oh, yeah.
yeah, the Trump icon has made all the difference in the world now. The only part now is like I don't know what I'm getting into because I'm in uncharted territory with the boards. Yeah, that we didn't even talk about that yet. How the boards are randomly generated every time, right? You can face the same person over and over again, and the board will be different, a different layout, and that's a really unique feature as well.
Right. This was something early on that I think if you ever do a project like this, I think you're gonna come to the realization that a lot of times you have ideas, but you don't really know how they're gonna pan out until you try them, right? And a part of me was thinking, well, typically in a game like, let's say Pokemon, right? I like seeing speedrunners. they will do something like, oh, I'm going to build this party and I'm going to get them to this certain stats or whatever, because when I get to this gym battle, I know that they're going to have this Pokemon at this level with these stats and these whatever, right? So you can anticipate as you play the game and you do more playthroughs, you know what to build, and you can have a consistent play. Every single time you play, you can play the same way and you can win and just get better at it. And we thought about that, and I think at the end we just felt like it would be more fun if you knew what elements they had and maybe what lines of the tokens they have. Like, oh, you're gonna find this critter and that critter, but to keep everything else a guessing game, just to keep you on your toes and to help you focus more on the strategizing part of it. And sometimes you get dealt a challenging board, and then other times you get a board that just fits your build perfectly, right? So that was a risk that we took. Do we just give the player consistent, here's the board, here's everything you need to know about them, and so you fight them once, you lose, and you get the information that you need, and then you come back better prepared. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think that fits certain games really well. But for this specific game, I felt like it was more of like testing your knowledge about the rules of the game and making you think more about your party composition rather than trying to build what you need for that specific board, if it makes sense.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to avoid too. Was, oh, the walls are in this configuration, so let me take arrows to put me here and here, and thinking like, oh wait, I forgot, what did the walls look like? Let me go look again. Let me bring the right tokens. There is no right token as far as the arrows, and so that helps kind of relieve that, where people won't be looking for that because it's random, so they can't bring in specific arrow typing.
Yeah. I just thought of something here that if I make sure I block this off, he can't use the bomb against me to combo and take my guys away.
Ooh, nice.
There we go. See? And we didn't have to tell you that. You figured that out on your own.
I'm like, wait a second. I see what could happen here.
Yeah, and I think one of the biggest challenge is a lot of people, I think a lot of games today focused a lot on giving you something new every other second, because otherwise they can't hold your attention for more than a minute. And we wanted to make sure that you spent more time on being able to learn the mechanics, right? Understanding how the system works. So you might play a couple of NPCs and not really see anything new for a while, and that's intentional because we wanted you to fill out the mechanics, to really learn how they work, to understand what makes a good party composition before we introduce something brand new. But there was a lot of stuff that we needed to introduce at the very beginning. Maybe Jump can understand the progression for that and why he chose that.
Well, yeah, I tried to lay these regions out very specifically. I did a lot of like back and forth with the level design because there's a lot to teach the player, just the basic mechanics, and people still don't get it sometimes after they go through the tutorial. So we wanted that to be obviously the main focus. But then right away, if we start adding other characters, well, now you have you have trumping immediately because you have leaf or fire in there. So we have to teach them that too. And so the first region is really just teaching them what the mechanics are. And then the second region is pretty much one of the most important ones, the one you just finished, because that one is really, it starts adding abilities, and it's mainly about the trumping. It goes through grass and fire and water levels, and you are meant to bring in, one way to play would be to bring in the party that trumps them. And so you start learning that. As you're learning the abilities too. So once you get to this point, hopefully you got that stuff down for the most part, and now we can throw bombs in there to kind of like throw a wrench in everything and say, oh, now you got to watch out for those too.
A new tinker and I'm definitely understanding that now, though, that's what the whole second region was about, for sure. Like, was really evolving your learning process.
Yeah, and maybe I'm speaking for my own self here, so Drums can correct me if what I'm about to say is not quite correct. But if you look at our our HIO page, you'll see that 90% of the games that we've made are puzzle-based. I'm talking turn-based, very specific ways to solve the problem, and then you just go from level to level. And the reason why is because, Brown's being the designer, that's the type of games that he really loves and knows how to do and all that. And I love putting them together. So it was always fun to do those for jam, and it made it really easy for game jams too, because you can just come up with one mechanic, add a twist to it, and suddenly we had like 5 or 6 different levels, which works really well for a game jam setting. So what was funny is that the first game that we decided to make into a full release is not a puzzle game, not a traditional puzzle game where you have, move the box to A, press this button, open this door, and go through it to win. There is still puzzle elements here, right, in the way that you try to solve the battle. But I always find that funny that our background is in making puzzle grid-based, turn-based puzzle games, and suddenly here's a tech builder.
Yeah, and I do feel like this does have puzzle elements to it, because like you said, even the one guy that would play the game specifically just capturing, like that is essentially playing it as a puzzle game, because you're trying to specifically manipulate things so that you can only capture and not battle. Like it's very puzzle thought process,
So once you open up the tinkering to this part, this was one of the things that we do not have a tutorial for. And we went back and forth about thinking of adding something to talk to and when that would be. And so I'm curious, what your initial instinct is with something like this.
Well, my instinct right now is if I get it to 100% and I have an arrow in every direction, does that mean I get the piece to have 100% arrows? Or does that mean that it's going to 100% give me one additional arrow? That's what I don't know, and I figured I would just wing it with a few of these 2s that I don't need to use, I mean, unless you want to tell me before I waste the pieces.
No. It will add 1 arrow, but I am curious. So you automatically thought, though, that these that you're putting on are going to be deleted?
Yeah, like it looks like it's kind of like an evolution thing where you have to use these 4 and it goes into this one, and these 4 will then be deleted. Is that not how that's going to work?
It is. I'm just curious.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I totally...
I don't know how intuitive that is.
Yeah, I totally would get that right away. I'm like, oh, yeah, this makes sense. Instead of... Because, right, we're still not paying gold, right? No, we're sacrificing the tokens. But is it going to RNG which arrow it picks? Or because, like I said, my theory was... Or my hope was that, look, I picked an arrow for every single corner. So I wanted to make this piece have 100% arrows.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's definitely a single arrow, and it definitely is random, but you do have the ability to tinker the arrows later, right? So that's the first option.
And it's not going to obviously pick a direction that it already has an arrow on, right? So it's guaranteed to be one of these 3.
If it does, then that's a bug, and we got to fix it. But
all right, well, we'll see right now. 95%. There we go. Okay.
And we cover ourselves with the umbrella of it's in early access, and we apologize. Pardon our dust.
Oh, no,
there you go.
I think that's the whole thing with early access is people should realize that, at least, that there's things are constantly changing. I mean, sometimes there's even I don't know if that's something you can speak to right now either, but at any point, is there a risk of progress being wiped?
Oh, no.
Okay.
We want to make sure that you do not lose that whatsoever, because the full campaign is there, single player, all the story is there. So we definitely don't want you to lose that progress. And if you do, please let me know so that I can fix that.
Okay. Okay, see, look, we got two of these frog guys with no, or 3 of these frog guys with no ability, but this one has the ability. So, is this guy's hidden, or does he not have the jumping cactus?
They're just random. I mean, every token has the ability. They just don't. You don't have it unlocked for that token.
Okay.
Is what we're getting at. But you can tinker it later, and you can add it.
Can tinker the abilities. Okay, I got you.
As in, like, turn it on and off. I mean, turn it on, not off. Once it's on, it stays
Yeah.
on. You can't turn it off.
Oh, that
Which
would
was
probably
one
be
of
what
the
this one
challenges
is.
when it came. That was one of the challenges when it came with us deciding what's an ability, because we never wanted to have an ability that you don't want to bring into battle. Right? You have a token that you like the arrows, you like the element, you like the level, but you're like, I don't want to bring this ability. It's gonna hurt my playstyle right now. So the abilities that were chosen, I think were chosen over the span of 2 years, right, Drums?
Right.
Because of the things like that.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
we wanted them to always be something positive. That if a token had one, why would you not want to bring it in? So something like, oh, this token does not set off bombs. That's its ability. If you
Oh,
point to a
I want
bomb, it
that
doesn't
one.
set it off. Well, we don't have it, and that's my reasoning is because, well, what if I use the bombs like the enemy does sometimes, right?
Yeah.
And what if I use the bombs against him? So I hate that I can't use this token right now because I really want to explode this bomb, but now I can't. And that's why we wouldn't have a ability like that.
And
Right.
what does their level mean again, by the way? Does that mean the
The
level of pieces that they'll have?
No, that's just their level. What it really means, and I don't know if anyone would recognize this. It's more of, it holds tokens that are going to be like 3, 4s, and 5s. So it's like one below and one above. It's just kind of a generic number to say this guy's a little tougher. It also makes them a little harder AI wise. Not that the player might feel that because it's not that dramatically different, but that's how we control the AI. So it gets a 4 is harder than a 3, the way they play. And then also just that the tokens they use are a little higher and they're around the 4 mark. He might have some 5s, he might have a 3, but it's around there.
Okay.
And because I'm all about backstory, so if you go back and, like I said, if you go to HIO, the original game is called Battle Pods. Battle Cards, I'm sorry, because there were actual cards in there. So if you wanted to see how the horrible beginnings of this game, you can go see that there. Just remember that Drums had nothing to do with the graphics. That's why they look bad. They're programmer graphics. So don't blame it on him.
Yeah,
So
the graphics look beautiful right now. Yeah.
The way that they started was they represent how many dice you were rolling. Right? So if you had 1, you would roll a 1 6-sided dice. If you had 2, it would be a 2 6-sided dice, and so on and so forth. And what we noticed is that by the time that you kept leveling up to say 4 or 5, like you have here, it became too crowded and way overpowered. You would see numbers of 50, 60 or higher. And we kind of like lower numbers. I feel like they're just easier to read, easier to understand. So it was better for Drums came with the idea of saying, hey, what if you always have 2 dice? But the level determines what you actually can roll, from what to what. And that took some time to implement, but it was a beautiful suggestion, and I love it. It just makes it easier to present to the player and easier to understand, right? A 5 should have a higher chance of winning against a 4 kind of deal, right? But it's still random. You can still win with a lower level.
Okay, I get you. Yeah, that was one of the things I feel like I pointed out in my quick look was that I was excited that you can win with a lower level. It's not something that's going to happen all the time, and maybe not the best strategy to try to play with. But yeah, you can win with lower levels.
I will say that is still to this day is been the biggest. I don't even know what to call it, but I keep wanting to adjust something, but I think it's just one of those things that it's just the way it is because it's the way it is, which is exactly that you can beat something 1 level above you. That's amazing when it's you, and if you have to take the risk and it pays off, or he attacks you and then you end up winning, it's like, wow, that was awesome. But if you ever attack something that's a level lower than you and you lose, you always feel like it was unfair. you should win 100% of the time because your number is bigger. But that's not how the
No, yeah.
math works. Once in a while, you will lose to a lower level, but it never feels good. So we tweaked those a little bit too. They're not exactly like, the odds are leaned a little bit in the player's favor already, but it's never going to be 100%. And you're always going to have those moments where you're like, what? That's unfair. But you can't have it. You have to have it both ways. You can't, have it one way where the enemy loses, but you don't.
Right. We lean a lot more on forget about real world math and what real math is. Think about player math. If a player is going to do something and the something says that 80% chance of winning, that's probably 100% to them, So you still have to let it fail, but you lean more towards it will be successful. So it does sting when it fails, but it has to fail because otherwise it will be 100%, and that's not true. So it's a hard decision to make because you don't want to see the player go with the anticipation that they're going to get a specific result and then not see it. But that is part of the gameplay, it's the risk that you're taking.
Yeah.
So it's a challenge.
Look at you nailing all these trumps.
Thanks to you, because again, it was it would have been something I would have learned eventually. It just wasn't something that was occurring to me enough at first, and I really love it now, and it's given me a whole new slew of confidence. And like right now, I'm just trying to find the easiest way to guarantee a win instead of having to try to continue to fight anything. Well, actually, if we do that, we guarantee that. Okay. I was gonna say, so mathematically, we should have already won. Okay.
Yeah, so I remember there was a huge period of designing where in the morning on my drive to work and in the afternoon on the drive back, I would just call drums and be like, hey, let's talk about the game. I got 20 minutes to drive. Let's just figure out these things. And it always came down to those questions. But this is what it really should be. And I would argue, yeah, but the player won't feel that. That's not what the player is going to feel. So let's concentrate on what feels good for the player. And there will always be this argument back and forth of should we do it A, should we do it B? And I think what we learned to do is let's just do a compromise. Let's figure out A, B together. And let's let other people play. And let's play it ourselves. Let's see what we really think when it's in action. So hopefully you're feeling that, right? If you had a loss, you never feel like the game was unfair. You felt like, okay, maybe I could have made better decisions. And if you won, then it's like, oh man, my risk paid off, my decisions paid off, and you know what I'm saying? Like I hope that's the feeling that you're getting when you play this game.
Oh, definitely. There's times when I'm down and I'm not 100% sure if it's going to be possible to win, and I take that risk, and if I take that risk and I win, it's just an incredible feeling, and it's the best. And even if I don't win that match, I am excited that I took that risk and I won, and I got those combos, and it just makes me very happy. And then anytime that I've lost a match, I just go, all right, it's not a big deal. I can always go back and fight a weaker guy to grind some gold, and then take that gold and go buy some more packs. So there's always a way to counter and come back. Like you said, like you guys did a good job putting that in the game, and I don't think it's something that isn't obvious to see. Like I think that's a concept that a lot of people get with these type of games, that you're not going to win everything. You're not going to dominate the game. There's going to be losses, and you can just always go back and you can grind, and that's what the pack shop is for. So
yeah, and that was one of those things that we originally didn't have a lot of those things. I mean, mainly replaying someone didn't give you the money that you needed, and it was more of like, well, we don't want people to abuse that, right? You go play like one of the weakest guys, get a bunch of money. But the thing is you need that stuff for the people that, because it's not even the people that won't win, because everyone's going to lose, like you said. you're gonna get tokens taken. You're gonna get unlucky rolls. You're gonna lose because it's random and it's whatever. That's just the game. And so when you are in a spot like that, you should be able to go in and fight someone else. That's what it's for. And it, the money is based on the level too. So if you go play the first guy, yeah, you're gonna win every time, but you're not gonna get money fast enough. So you have to choose. Well, who do I go to get the right amount of money? But that I also know I'm gonna win because you don't want to go to someone earlier and then lose again. So yeah, it was like finding that balance of when you're in a spot, how do you get out of it? How do you get tokens back and get money back?
And it was brought up in our Discord. Somebody came over and said, "Hey, I'm kind of stuck here, and I'm winning very little money, and I can't really buy better tokens." And so we went back to the drawing board and asked ourselves the question: if we were like what you saw that you unlocked all the booster packs for the grass, water, and fire early on, right? That wasn't the case before. You had to go through many regions before you can unlock those. Same thing with the silver tier. That wasn't given to you until a little bit later. And what I started to realize is, me as a developer, I was struggling a little bit. I was losing maybe every other battle. And so I asked myself the question: if I, as a developer, am losing every other battle, or maybe 2 battles and then I win, how much more would somebody who doesn't know the rules the way that I know them would lose? And so I think that's what Drums was trying to get at. Was making that decision, we ask ourselves the question: okay, but are we making the game too easy? By giving you access to all this early on, are you going to be overpowered? And the reality is, no, there's still so much randomness to the game, and you still have to make good decisions that you can go back to Buddy, who only has 1s, 2s, and a couple of 3s, and he can still beat you. If you're careless, doesn't matter if you have 4, 5, 6, he can still defeat you because you can use your own tokens against you.
Yeah. These bombs, man. These bombs are...
They're the best.
They're
the best.
so rough.
They're my favorite.
They're so rough.
They're my favorite. Although somebody did ask the question, why are there bombs? Like, it doesn't make sense. I'm like, hey, it's a video game, okay? It's video game logic.
It's I've watched a lot of videos on YouTube about people like analyzing like cartoons and stuff, and they'll always be like, well, in this season they did this and it didn't make any sense, and I want to be like, it's a cartoon, get over it, like. And it's the same thing for
That's
video
fun.
games. Yeah, it's just it doesn't have to make sense, it just has to be a fun mechanic, and like you're not trying to go for realism or anything, so it's it's just funny when the things that people pick on. I mean, I guess I get it for like a YouTube video guy like that, like he was doing it specifically to oh wait, no, I want to capture that guy, so I'm distracting myself now. But you know what I'm saying. You understand what I'm saying.
That's part of the strategy, is us distracting you.
Yeah.
But I wanted to call out something that you mentioned earlier, because you made it sound like, oh, it's obvious, everybody does this. But the reality is that what we've seen people, they don't realize that they can go. See, he did the strategy that I love, or she did the strategy that I love.
Nope. I knew it the second it happened too. I'm like, oh well, thanks, but I can just do that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
But what we've seen is that I think, like I mentioned before, the mentality that we've seen on average is that you move forward, and once you move forward, you never go back. So either you don't go back because you don't want to grind, or you don't go back because you don't realize that you can go back and you can refight somebody who's weaker, and you can get more money and build your deck that way. We never want to make you feel that you have to do that, right? There's no have-tos in this game, except you got to defeat them to move forward. That's the only have-to. But how you go about that is completely your decision. However, because games nowadays, it's like you move forward and you kill the boss and you go to the next thing and you just keep moving in a linear way until you beat the game. I think that has developed the mentality of most gamers think that that's the way every single game should play. And this really goes back to classic RPGs, where you might encounter a boss who's like 10 levels greater than you and just keeps defeating you. So what do? You go find weaker creatures and you defeat them and you level up. But I just didn't want to make it feel like you have to grind win, and hopefully nobody ever feels that way, especially with the changes that Drums has made recently.
I see you just got the achievement for 7 wins in a row, so nice job.
Yeah, it's like it's flowing real nice now. Everything's clicking. Like you guys did a really good design, like how you talked about, like how the first region is just like one big tutorial almost. Like you're learning, you're advancing, and then the second region you're getting introduced to how the game is going to keep evolving and keep changing, and then once you get used to that, and then you pay attention to how the game's actually played with the Trump icons, then everything just starts to click, and now it's feeling really good. Like, I mean, I'm sure there's going to be some surprises down the line. Like, I mean, I'm already worried about what's coming after bombs.
Or like this guy that you're about to fight might have something new.
Oh boy. Foreshadowing. I want to get a new pack first, though. Let's get a new pack. It's still my favorite thing because I love collection games. I love anything where you collect or anything where you can you know, put on display anywhere where you can like look at it and stuff. Like those are just my favorite things. I'm addicted to that.
That's the only reason I put up with this game for so long. Like, that's the only reason I'm excited every this. I'm a collector. I collect everything in every game ever. Shinies don't need to have anything important to them other than they look different, and I will collect every single one, kind of thing. So that's what kept me really intrigued into this game, is the collection aspect.
Yeah, it's really fun, and I already want to complete the entire Hexadex, I think. Hexdex, yeah. Hexdex, yeah. There we go. Yeah, I already want to complete this whole. I'm 23 or 54, but then there's a shiny for every single one as well, so you gotta get 54 shinies too. So, and
yeah,
just
we wanted
still
150 Pokemon, but it's not 150.
It's too many. I mean, you know, he's joking, but it's true. Like, I originally said, like, I want like 200 of these things, like, because I wanted a really big roster with a big collection that would take forever. But I can't draw 200 of them, so I'm not doing it.
Well, maybe eventually, right? You could put out some DLC packs or something, right?
But once we started doing abilities per line, I'm like, well, dang, that's a lot of abilities we got to come up with too.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, well, here's something too that I've always been interested in especially in game development. I'm not sure if you guys can speak to this, but if you can, it is how complicated is it to port this to consoles? Like, is that something that you want to do? I mean, because obviously this game would blow up on the Switch, I feel like. Just having this to be portable. I mean, you can already do it portable on a Steam Deck, I'm sure, but
so at the beginning of the game, or somebody did. So what? Did it get cut off?
Oh, I'm sorry. What?
Oh, I thought it got cut off or something like that. So we use the Unity engine, and they do all the heavy lifting for us, and the conversion and all that. And console is something that I have considered, but I think right now I just wanted to focus more on getting the game to work on Steam, understand how players interact with the game, understand how streamers want to be able to interact with the game. But I would love to put this on the Switch. I think this would look really good on the Switch.
Oh yeah. And
especially with the touch functionality, where you can actually, because people keep saying, "Oh, is this a mobile game?" or "When are you going to bring it into the mobile game?" or something like that. And if I'm honest with y'all, this is something that I told Jones from the very beginning. It's like, I don't want this game to look like a mobile game. He's like, why not? It's because mobile games have a bad connotation that comes with them. Most people think that they're just cash grabs and, loot a lot of ads, and they're just poorly made and just cheaply made. And I don't want people to come in thinking like, oh, this is a game that was made over the weekend and they're charging a lot of money for it. It's like, it should never feel that way, because it isn't, right? It has taken a lot of time and a lot of thinking and a lot of careful planning. So I feel like I don't want this to look like a mobile game. Let's make sure that it looks 100% like a PC game and go from there. But now that we're getting closer to the very end of it, if the game does well enough, and the resources that are there, I would love to look into putting it into the Switch.
That was something too. I made sure I put in my written review, because I was afraid of using the terminology shop, because I didn't want there to be any negative connotation about microtransactions in the game. So I did specifically write that there are no microtransactions, because that is something that is a mobile trope and a negative connotation that comes with a lot of games. Even though I personally don't mind microtransactions, I think they help the developing team, especially if it's a smaller team. I would say go for it. It just has to be implemented the correct way, obviously. But I wanted to make sure that was something that I pointed out so that nobody would be confused by the term shop, so.
Yeah, the only shop that we have is the one where you're buying tokens. Now, I'm a huge believer that, I guess, because I grew up with games and where you couldn't buy DLC and you couldn't buy things. Once the game was released, that's what you got, whether the developer was able to put everything they wanted or it didn't. And once you pay for a product, I really believe that you should own the product and everything that comes with it. I don't want to hide things behind a paywall in order for you to get the full experience. It makes no sense to me. So even if we were to do something like, for example, the roguelike that I was talking about before, right? If we decide that, yep, that makes sense, and we come up with a good way to implement it and a fun way for people to play with it, that would still be free DLC, right? We would release the game with the PvE in its entirety and all that, and then anything that comes after that that we feel like, hey man, this feels like a good addition. I would not charge an extra dime for it. I would just put it and say, hey, here you go, enjoy more content.
Well, that's really good to hear. That's again, that's something that some people worry about, but again, at the same time, I understand both aspects of it. Although, yeah, you could just release things as like legit DLC, and that tends to not upset people. So, oh, that trumps that.
Yeah, but I suppose if it's like an expansion or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh,
like
this is the first time that I'm actually seeing the rock icon.
Yeah,
I had not actually seen the rod icon on the board yet, because I had seen the pentagon for the longest time. So now I'm seeing it on the board.
I almost messed up with this guy and was not paying attention that I could see which elements did beat the rock before I played the rock. So I made sure I picked all grass, but no, I'm still having a hard time because this guy seems to be a little bit smarter than the people I've played so far.
So I do have a question about PvP, right? Because I think people that have talked about it have a different perspective as to what they think PvP would be. And I just want to have, when you hear this game will have PvP and we're working on it, what are you thinking that would look like?
Basically, exactly how it plays now, and when you lose a token to another real person, or if you win a token from another real person. That's kind of what I was assuming you would go for. And at the same time, I think I did mention that in my quick look, where I was like, I don't want to lose my tokens to real people. But I've gotten used to that mechanic now to the point where I don't feel as bad about it. So
yeah, so for the time being, I was thinking more of like, if you ever played Pokemon when it came out and you used the link cable system to connect to other Game Boys and you play with your friend, that's kind of what we're approaching right now. You have a buddy, you want to play with your buddy, and then you say, hey, come join the game, let's play together. Will we ever expand it into you can just play with a random person online? Maybe. I think for right now, we just want to consider what does it feel like just to play against a buddy? And because you got to think about the board, right? The board has walls, it has elements, it has bombs, it has configuration. So how do you control that? those kinds of things.
Okay, so you're saying in order to keep it more on a gentlemanly level, you want to keep it like a friend code only thing, like friends list only.
To start with,
Yeah.
right? Because I
Oh, I don't see a
also
problem with
see
that
the
at
other.
all. Yeah.
Because I also love the idea of saying a streamer logs in and they're like, "Hey, I'm having a fight against all of my subs today, and I'm gonna stream it or whatever."
Yeah.
And so you create a lobby, and then as you fight, you just round robin, and everybody fights against the host, is what I'm saying. So, you keep fighting against every single person that's in the lobby. Those kinds of things. Like we have to really think about how do we create an environment that's gonna be fun to play with, and also makes financial sense. So that type of deal.
Ooh, he got Weed Whacker.
Oh, was that? Yeah,
Wait.
winning with all grass. Yeah, I saw that pop up. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
And now I'm like, wait,
Right.
this
I'm
panda
gonna...
is adorable, but I kind of want this guy.
So I just been served breakfast, so I'm gonna go on mute, but I'll be in chat. So Drums, just take over for the next few minutes while I eat my breakfast, okay? Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, I gotta take this guy though, as adorable as the panda is.
And this is one of my favorite parts too. Is the looting is such a it's you're gonna want to choose between so many different things, like you just did the design, right? But also, oh, this guy's level is higher, but this guy has all these arrows. So who do I choose? That whole like dilemma. I love it, and I also love that you can only loot the ones you capture. So when you're like getting to the end of a game, you're like, well, I could go for the easy one, the easy capture, or I could get this high level one. And if I get him, well, then I can loot him when I win. So that whole looting system, I'm in love with.
Oh yeah, the looting system is fantastic. It's also something like me personally. I'm still like 100% zoned in on trying to make sure my number is higher at the end, so I'm not even paying attention to like going for specific captures. But that is incredibly cool. That like, hey, I really want that token. I'm gonna do everything I can to make sure I capture that guy, so that if I win, I can get that token. That's a whole element that's there.
Well, small spoiler too. If you get a perfect score, the looting is really, really fun.
Oh, really? So you could probably get more than one, is what you're saying, I guess, huh? Oh, I really want rock guys now, but I don't want to settle for a bronze pack. Come on. Who wants a bronze pack anymore?
Honestly, the only reason that the bronze packs are even like that you could go back a level is really to unlock the creatures in the hex stacks. That's one. Like if you just didn't, grab them.
Good call.
You could always go back and grab them. And also, yeah, I mean, there's techniques, right? You could bring a level 1 into a battle and use it for bait, whatever. So maybe people want to do that too. So we wanted to leave it all open.
No, that's definitely a really good call. There we go. I got enough now. I haven't been using these neutral cards at all. I'm assuming at some point we'll get some like this one still has a really cool ability for a neutral card, but I just haven't even seen any neutral cards in a while too. So I'm wondering when those are going to come back into play.
That's one of those things that completely changed from conception to reality, has been the normal cards, because I had this assumption that they're going to be strong, they can't be trumped. So, I want to limit the amount of those because you're going to probably want them because they're strong. But that's not true at all. The stronger cards are the ones that trump. So whatever the enemy has, you want to bring the trumping cards, and those will be stronger. Neutral, you have to rely on the roll unless you're a level higher, to guarantee a win. So that really changed my mind about the whole normal thing. I'm like, well, I guess you could still use them. There's still some, that you could use them for certain techniques and such, or that they could be used on the opponent, meaning you can't trump them, and that's their purpose for them. But for you, yeah, they're not some amazing token like I thought they would be, and so they kind of moved to the side a little bit, and the trumping tokens are really shining, I guess.
What's going on here with these ones being highlighted? Oh, never mind. I'm a genius. That's because they're in my pack. Why have I never noticed that before? It's like why are these highlighted all of a sudden?
That was actually just added, so.
Oh, was it? Okay, so maybe
Yeah,
that's why
so
I am kind of just noticing it, because I'm like,
Yeah,
I played
you
it for a
happened to
few
be-
hours before this, so.
Right, yeah, you were one of those players that were in between updates. And the reason
Yeah.
that was added was because nobody knew what the heck was in their hand. They were getting confused. Even with the icon, you can't really see it that quickly. You can't pick up on it that that's in your hand. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna take the whole little square and just say, this is selected. So now it's obvious.
Well, I mean, that's really awesome that you're listening to feedback and you're applying what you're hearing, and you're having a quick turnaround too. Like, the game has been in early access since what, January? I think it said on the site.
Right.
So you're turning things around really quickly, and it's really impressive. Again, for just a 2-person team. How did you did you what was well, obviously some of your inspiration was Pokemon. That's what most people compare the art style to, but what where do you get your ideas for different creatures and characters?
Okay, so the creatures, yeah, that was the fun part. You know, originally I was just gonna do Pokemon, like just different Pokemon that don't exist, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Not just animals, but elements and objects. There are different things like that. But I don't know if it was like the island theme or just for some reason I really want to just go actual animals. And yes, they're gonna look interesting and have some components to them, but they're all based on an animal. Because and me personally, I love the unique creatures. I love invertebrates and bugs and insects and sea creatures and certain things like that. So you'll see a lot of that in the game. I don't have a lot of just straight mammals. A lot of them are reptiles and fish and that kind of thing, because that's just my interest. But yes, they all were like based on a certain species or creature, and then I just wanted something else to go along with it. So if it was the snake, well, okay, what does a plant snake look like? How can I incorporate the vine or the flower or whatever? But yeah, that's how I kind of constructed them.
Yeah, that's really cool. And they have all these different elements based on, or these different features based on their element too, which is really fun and creates some really cool designs.
Yeah, one of the things was the color. I really wanted the player, because it's hard to see the little icon in the bottom right of the token sometimes. It's not obvious. And so I wanted to make the colors really obvious. If you see something that's green, most likely, unless it's shiny, green means grass, brown means rock, or red means rock. That way, you don't have to really look for those icons. You can kind of go by the theme or the color of the creature.
For half a second there, I thought I was gonna finally get that perfect, but then I blew it.
No, it's always right at the end.
I'm like, oh, I got this in the bag. It's no problem. And then the guy throws down one piece and takes over half the board. I almost lose by one. It got scary. Yeah, I love seeing the gold go up at the end, and I love getting the loot. And oh wait, now we're about to get another treasure chest too, I think, right? Yeah. Are these are the treasure chests set, or are they random?
They're semi-random, so I can choose certain aspects of the token, but the creature ability is going to be random.
Okay. So there's a neutral, and he's a high-level neutral, and he's going to get all field bonuses. So, I mean, this is a decent neutral. Like we were talking about how they seemed a little weaker here, but at least this one seems strong, right? I mean,
that is one of my favorites. Is this guy who can go on any And
Yeah.
because I think almost all the levels will have something on the floor, some kind of tile. And yeah, he's pretty strong with that.
That's only my second one, too, that can go on every single tile like that. Or the neutrals are only available in the variety packs, too, right? Or at least right now, there's not a
For
neutral
now.
pack.
Right, for now.
Yeah. Holy crap, this guy's got every element and a bomb. Okay, well, that's nice.
Oh yeah, I made sure to put one of these in every region, just to kind of free for all level where it's going to be hectic, because I just wanted to kind of mix it up.
Oh man, this is gonna require a little bit more thought this time. Then I got to use the same deck 2 times in a row. I'm like, oh, this is flowing nicely, and now it's like, oh, I gotta think. Hold on.
It kind of lends itself to kind of like all right, let me pick my favorite tokens, like anything, right? So now I can kind of build like the party I wanted to, but because the other levels were asking for fire or water, I couldn't really do that. But now I could just kind of take whoever.
I definitely want to try out some of these guys now too. I didn't even put them in the last couple, and they got a ridiculous amount of arrows too now, which is pretty nice. Starting to get all my bases covered. It's really entertaining. And it's really rewarding. Like the farther you go in the game, the more everything just starts to piece together more and more and more, and it's really good game design.
Well, thank you. That's one of the things I try to do is the level design and the progression and how quickly to give you something new or increase the difficulty, but then also have it be, intuitive, where just when you're ready with the last thing, you get the next thing. Finding that line is hard because every player is different, but I try.
Yeah, that's got to be the thing, right? That you're thinking mostly about the time, like, is how do you think for every character, right? Or every person out there, like you said. So that's why it's cool that you are reading all this feedback and getting all this feedback and really listening to it.
Yeah, for sure.
I feel like this might work. No, wait. Okay. We're gonna give it a shot. I'm nervous about this one.
One of the last abilities I put in, I actually really like too, is the deers. The one that it levels you down when they take over the token, so it's easier to get back. I just thought that was a cool idea that kind of came last second.
That is definitely a cool feature that I put in that last deck specifically to utilize for that reason, and I was like, oh, this is gonna be cool, and then like they never captured that guy.
Well, that's good too.
Yeah. Wow, a 7. Do they evolve again at 7? I can't, I don't want to set off the bomb, though. I'm gonna wait.
It's funny, some people have just, as soon as there's bombs, they just explode them immediately. I don't want any bombs for the remainder of this game. Even if it flips them, they just do that to get it over with.
Oh.
And then they'll get it back. Yeah, they're like, I don't want bombs.
I've been completely going out of my way to avoid the bombs, but I mean, I guess that is a strategy, because then...
Yeah.
Well, see, so... But if I do this, it turns... Wait, if I do this, will it turn me red and him purple?
Yes.
Oh, okay, so we're just trading pieces there.
If you say you had a grass piece that pointed up and to the top left, and you went under the bird, that's what he does, right? So you could lose to the bird if you had a grass, and then you're setting off the bomb, so you're getting it both back anyway. There's little techniques like that are sometimes pop up too.
Yeah. This is only going to set off the one bomb. Okay. Yeah, I'm still learning bombs. Why is this guy red? Oh, okay. It was like a little visual thing because I had placed him on a negative square.
Oh, that's actually a bug. I don't even. How did that
Yeah,
happen?
look, it stays negative when you put him back. He's on
Is it
blue.
because are you right clicking or
Oh, whoa! I didn't mean to
hitting
put
the
him
back
down.
button?
Oh, I got lucky there. I was yeah, I hit the back button.
That's probably what it is. It's probably when you hit the back button.
No, Scrubs, I think that's because of the final region. Hint. I think I need to look into that. Okay.
No,
Let's put it on the to-do list.
I don't think so. It's because he's hovering over because it's not all the time. He's hovering over
So if I put
one
here,
that
and
lowers
then-
it.
yeah,
It's
when I
'cause
hit
he's
B,
hitting back.
and if I carry it back,
Oh, okay.
it doesn't do it. Yeah, so it seems like it's probably only a controller thing, or I guess like you said on the keyboard.
Okay,
Or,
we'll take a look at it.
yeah.
Stop breaking our game when
Yeah.
people are watching.
Now I don't know what I want to do though. Oh, well, that's
If
interesting.
only it kept it as a level 6, and then you can make it a level 7, and then a level 8, and then a level 9.
That would be really broken, right? If I could
It permanently did it.
find a way to do that, like so. It doesn't do that, right? Wait, hold on. Now I can't pick him back up.
No, it's just visual.
Oh, look, he like automatically goes back in instead of going all the way down. Like I was trying to hover him all the way down without touching another square to see if it would do it, and it doesn't though. So.
Right.
That was risky. I got lucky there. And that's what happens when I try to be smart. Okay, so
Just remember, burn grass, cut rock, and douse fire. You should remember that, and you always win.
yeah. Although, see, now this guy will be 2 less, but it's still... So the Trump icon appears because he's going to get the bonus, because he trumps the grass, but he might still get a much lower roll because he's only a level 4.
That's the trick.
Yeah. Still wonder if I should just take the chance here, though. Ooh, he did evolve. That is cool. I really wanted to see that too, so. Nice. And then he just ruins my fun.
Always.
Yeah. I really don't want to hit a bomb now either. He's got 2 left, I've got 3 left. Oh, I probably do need to take at least 1 more though. Problem is, anyone that I try to take is just this one, and it's gonna hit this bomb.
You gotta trust in the heart of the cards, man.
I guess, right? I guess. I mean, I was already. I've taken so many risks already in this game. I'm gonna trust that that's not the right play because I forgot about the up. Yep. Wait, so what is that? What does this guy do? Can only be captured by battles or combos. Okay, so he can't even. He
Yeah,
can't
that's
even
a
be
good play.
captured. Yeah.
Attacking the turtle against the lizard is a good play.
The turtle against the lizard?
Yeah.
Like this, you mean?
Attacking.
So this. Oh, what, like how I had it, you mean?
I think so. It's delayed. It's hard to tell.
Yeah. But it says he's going to get trumped, though.
Exactly.
Oh, because of the explosion?
Yeah,
It goes
you won't-
boomies.
Ah.
that's the technique.
Yeah, okay, so that's the first time I've even... No, well, then that happens, and... so, couldn't predict that, though, so...
Of course.
Couldn't predict that.
You win this anyway. You get 3 right there.
Come on, Oscar. I didn't tell you to do that. Bad Oscar.
Oh, yeah, this takes 3 without a battle.
Those are always my favorite. If you get at least 3
Oh,
that
so you
just
win
do
7.
that, it feels so good.
Yeah. Yeah, that was silly. Wow, I thought it was over. Yeah. That's awesome.
And that's the whole point of this game, right? You can be at the very end thinking like, I've completely lost. You were down. You only had 3, right? And yet you still won. And there's an achievement for that, which I think you already got a couple of battles before.
I think so. Yeah. Yeah, that was incredible. I thought it was game over for sure. Thanks, Sneaky. I look over just in time to see Sneaky say, because that's also kind of my thing. Is
And you give up pretty easily.
yeah, we do a challenge run series for Dragon Quest Monsters on the regular here on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and I'm constantly like, oh, nope, it's over. There's nothing that's gonna this is bad, and it's like my good luck charm by always giving up that ends up turning the luck around incredibly fast. It's ridiculous.
Hey, I'll be right back. I
Maybe
got
we should change something. Yeah,
I'll
but
be back for the boss, but I'll be right back.
Okay.
maybe we should change the name of the achievement and call it "Always Give Up, Always Surrender,"
Yes.
and that's how you win.
There you go. Yeah, it's the best option, right? I feel like I need more rock. Yeah, I'm gonna take more rock.
Rocks are cool.
Yeah.
I'm gonna spoil the ability for. I mean, let's see if you get it. Let me see if you got it. Ah, you got it. Perfect.
Yeah.
I love
Wait,
it.
what?
I love it. Okay. So I love this ability. This ability was the last ability we added to the game,
Okay.
and it might be hard to explain it. I think we still struggle a little bit with the description. So tell me what you think it means.
So allows reward captures on successful defend. So allows. So is it talking about winning the whole match, or is it talking about winning the battle? Because to me, it sounds
it's an
like the
individual
whole
battle.
So it means just the battle.
Right. Right.
Okay.
So right now, when you put a token down, and you fight or whatever, it's done. Right. That's it. If the AI fights against that token that you put down, and your token wins, you don't do what we call the reward captures, right? Where if your arrow is pointing to another token, you don't get that. That only happens when you are the one attacking. So this ability now enables this token to have that additional captures. So if you have the token down and it's defending and it fights and it wins the battle and it's also pointing to other tokens, you're going to combo those tokens as well.
So
it's hard to explain it in the details, but I love it. It's one of my favorite ones.
So every arrow is gonna take a piece, is what you're saying.
If you win the battle, correct.
If you win the battle, okay. So
right.
You want to,
and then this is after you put the token down, and you're not the one putting the token down. The AI is fighting against you.
That's a whole other element of strategy there then too.
Right, and that one is a little bit tricky because unlike most strategies, most abilities where you can anticipate and prepare for it, this one is more of a nice to have if you have a strong version of it. Then if it fights against your token, then you get those rewards. So it took a while to. The reason how that one came about, I should say, is we were watching streamers, and when that scenario happened, they had a token down. The AI fought against them. They won the battle, and they were expecting the other tokens that the arrows were touching to also be combo. They were saying, "Hey, why didn't this happen?" And I realized, yeah, it kind of makes sense. You've gotten used to winning a match, a battle, and any token that your arrows are touching, you get. But it doesn't happen when you didn't put the token down. So let's turn that into an ability. You know, that's usually the mindset behind these abilities. Is we see people play or we play and we think like, what would be good in this kind of situation?
Okay, yeah, and again, yeah, that's really insightful and awesome that you guys think like that too.
I'm sorry, you get cut off. I think my internet is struggling now.
Oh no, I know. I said that's awesome and insightful, and that you guys take that type of feedback and run with it. And you know, like there's some developers. I mean, I can't think of any offhand, but I would imagine there's some developers that are just like, my game's amazing. I don't need to evolve for anyone, you know, like or adjust or anything. And it's good when you take the feedback and can learn from it and either adjust or make it fit properly. Not properly, but you know what I mean. Make it fit. Let's just leave it at that.
There, I switched internet. I heard most of what you said. Sometimes my internet struggle and I have like 3 different connections that I can try.
Oh,
Hopefully this one is working better. But I know that you were saying that taking the feedback and evolving the summon developer stone. And there is a fine line to walk, right? You want to make a game that's fun to you. But you also have to keep in mind that unless this is just a game that you made for yourself, and sure, other people can play, but you made it for yourself, you have to think about how other players are interacting with it. And then what's your target audience, right? Do you want it to be broad? Anybody can jump in and play the game and have a great time? Or is this more for the people that are really good at strategy games and deck buildings and they can think 2 or 3 moves ahead and they're really good at chess and all that stuff? I'm personally at the mindset that I want a game that's enjoyable to both sides. The experts can have a blast strategizing and building an amazing party, while the newcomers don't shy away and don't feel overwhelmed and all that. And that can be challenging, right? Because you can miss opportunities where the more experienced players could have enjoyed this version of the game more. But I'd rather just have something that I can give a 6-year-old, say, here, play it, and they can figure it out. With enough trial and error, they can figure it out without walking away frustrated.
Immune to bombs. Oh my god.
Oh boy, here we go.
Oh yeah.
Immune. Are they all gonna be immune to bombs? Oh, come on.
I don't know. Hex Master Ghost Rider. I like him.
Are any of the names inspired by anything? How'd you come up with the names for the NPCs?
I just chose names that I liked or that sounded cool. I mean, a few of them are people that I know are family, just to put them in the game for Easter
Okay,
egg.
yeah, it figures. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just chose names. That's really it. We have 1 or 2 that are actually from people that gave feedback in early access, and to give them a little shout out.
Yeah, we had a little reward thing. So if you help us make the game better in early access, we will let you name an NPC.
That's cool.
Kind of deal.
That's really cool.
But so now you guys know that my name is Nelson, right? And the second NPC you fight in the beach is Nelson. So whenever I'm watching a streamer play and they go, Nelson, I'm like, what? Oh, they don't know that that's me. And, you know, they'll say something like this scoundrel or this beach party, whatever person. I'm like, oh, I'm offended. But it's like, oh, no, wait, they're not talking about me. They're talking about him. So yeah, that's always fun.
I feel like this is a good move.
Only one way to find out.
Win or lose, which one are you fighting?
I think it's a good move, but it all depends on who you fight. I think it really is.
It is, yeah.
Fight the right one.
Fight the right one.
No, the right one.
Oh no.
That's a hint. That's a hint. Fight the right one.
Yeah. All right, sweet. That did what I thought. Okay.
Oh,
Beautiful.
see, and that's one of those things that I was telling about. He has an ability that cannot be affected by bombs, and you just use it to your advantage.
Yeah.
You use it
Yeah.
in order for the bomb to get back to you and not flip that token. So I love that.
Yeah, it's really cool. Again, it's like, I think it was Joe from Fox Hollow Games called this Pokemon for geniuses, or it was somebody at his comments. It's like, yeah, these you gotta like. I kind of compare it a little bit to like a chess game as well too. Like you're always trying to think multiple moves ahead.
You can, and I try to, but sometimes it's just easier to react. I mean, look at what you have going right now, right? It's like, how do you keep that whole side of the board your color?
Yeah,
We know that that bomb at the bottom won't affect those two birds, so they are taken care of.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, all these bombs are defended again. So really, I think if I go here, I think the worst he can do. Well, I mean, unless he's got a piece that attacks all those guys. Actually, yeah, maybe I want to defend these guys. So if I defend these guys, the most he can capture is 2, right? Because those 2 bottom pieces are exposed.
If he goes down there, yeah.
Yeah. That's like because it won't combo is what I mean, right?
Right. And you know,
Yeah.
it's funny.
Right.
That's one of the things people pick up on. Like, I always look for this realization. Like, wait, I don't think I want to put my arrows out all the time because then they can combo. And it's like, yeah, there's that balance between, you know, you only want to expose the arrows when you think that you're the strongest and that they can't win a battle. But if they can, yeah, it's like you almost don't want to have your arrows exposed for that very reason.
Oh, you won this one, 100%. Super easy.
Yeah.
Barely an inconvenience.
Yeah.
Just because of that one move, though. With the bombs. Oh, they only have 2 arrows, though? Come on. I
It'd
want...
be like, yeah, don't call me crispy for nothing.
Hey, you can add arrows to them now.
Oh, is that
That's
what I'm
true.
unlocking too? Nice. Oh, that no,
Oh, you
never
already
mind.
had
That was
that
the
in
thing
the
I already
kick
had.
option.
Yeah, that was the thing I already had. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, can I continue to add arrow? I didn't even try that. Can I add like once I add 1 arrow to a guy, can I put the same token back in and add another, or does it only max out at 1 additional arrow?
No, you can add as many as you want.
Ah, so I can
Yeah,
create
you
the
can put
ultimate
100
piece.
there if you want to. No, I'm kidding. You can't put 100.
No, but I'd be like, remember how I was saying I wanted to create the ultimate piece where every direction was covered.
Those are powerful.
Nice. We're unhexing them.
Yeah, I'm always curious to think what people are thinking about. I love that reaction in the first time. So I know that you play the first region, so that reaction is not there. But I've been asking Drums to do a compilation, but he's not going to. But that's fine. Of just people reading the text, and when they see the spirit leave, they go, "What?" Because it just comes out of left field. It's like, what's happening here?
Well, I mean, it's called Attack on Hex Island. I mean,
Yeah. But what it builds up to the final region is something that I really love, and I don't want to spoil it too much. Although I did have somebody in Discord say, "Hey, I reached the final region, and it took me by surprise, and it was more challenging than I expected." But that was intentional, you know. It's gonna feel. The idea behind it was, say that you're playing Breath of the Wild, and you decide to go fight Ganon from the very beginning, and you go to the castle. It's gonna be a gauntlet, you know. It's gonna be challenging. It's gonna be hard. It's doable if you know how to play the game and you know how to prepare for it. We've seen speedrunners do it, but it's challenging, and it's designed on purpose to test what you learn. So that's what we try to capture with the final region, and hopefully all the regions leading up to that are preparing you to learn all that systems and learn how to battle and all that stuff.
And then so you already have people speedrunning the game as well?
We have one speedrunner.
You have one speedrunner right now?
And that's
Okay.
me.
Yeah, his name is Drums.
I did like because I wanted to try speedrunning, so I did a run and then I threw it to some. I sent it into speedrun.com.
Oh, nice. Yeah, because
Yeah,
I wouldn't
and
lie, it's been something that's been on my mind since the beginning now too. Because again, I do challenge runs, and I'm like, this could totally be speedran.
it was crazy too because obviously it was a new game, so I had to say, hey, I was thinking of making this a new game. Maybe I could be an admin on it since I am one of the devs. And on a Sunday, they literally got back to me in 10 minutes and gave me full admin access and gave me everything in 10 minutes on a Sunday. I'm like, what the heck? Okay. So I jumped in there, made it look pretty, and put my run on there. And set it up to where it's a full run or there's region-specific runs from the first NPC to the boss. And yeah, I mean, I just think it lends itself to that a little bit because you'd be able to use so much to your benefit to chop off little pieces of time, and plus the randomness really plays into it.
Oh, these guys are worth a lot less too, for percentage wise.
Just so you know, you do have a sorting by percentage, which would put the more favorable ones towards the top if you wanted that option.
There's a starting percentage?
That's a sort by percentage is the next sort option.
Oh, good call.
Yeah, so you can always do that. But yeah, when it comes to speedrun, I think I mentioned it earlier. I love speedrunning, and I watch, Awesome Games Done Quick quite a lot. And I was thinking, should we have a speedrun mode for this game? And what would that mean? What does a speedrun mode mean? Since you do challenge runs, what would you consider a speedrun mode for this game to look
I was
like?
gonna say, it's something that me and my community have talked about a lot. Like, again, in the game that we do it the most on is Dragon Quest Monsters. It's frustrating because we have so much fun doing these challenge speedrun modes, and they have these cutscenes, and you're like, we've played through the game once, we've seen the cutscenes, why isn't there an option to just turn cutscenes off entirely? And why isn't there an option to have a built-in timer? An auto-skip dialogue, no cutscenes and such. Yeah, Sneaky's hitting on it right there. For a game like this, I feel like it could be even easier too, because you almost already kind of have it, because you have a option here for turn dialogue, the sound effect for dialogue off, and then turn text animation off so it immediately pops up like it has been. So it's already kind of like almost there. All I would suggest is, like if there was a way to make it so there was no story whatsoever and the option to put a timer on screen without having to have like a whole separate app for that, then that would be like the optimal speedrunning setup. But I mean, you don't even have to go that in depth. Just the option to make it so that you don't have to stop for any text-based stuff would be incredibly useful for speedrunning.
Yeah, and that's what I was thinking of doing, because I don't want to take away all the animations completely, right? And Drums pointed it out in his speedrun. He realized, I don't want to level up and evolve in battles. I don't want to battle because there's animations. Like, I'm trying to speedrun, so I want to try to win as fast as possible. And I was thinking, definitely make it so that the cutscenes don't happen. You just move on to the next guy. And then you move to the next region and stuff like that. And just, like you said, remove the dialogue as much as possible.
Like I could get through this really fast if I wanted to, because like I said, I turned all those settings to what I did. But again, like an option to have it gone just for that. Or like after you beat the game, or if you go into like a whole separate mode that is just called speedrunning. I don't know how complicated all that is, but yeah, I mean, that would be what I would picture.
Yeah, it's funny what Nelson was saying too about how you play differently when you're speedrunning, because like you said, every battle is longer than if you were to just capture or put your token down somewhere else, right? Like every second counts. And so when I was doing it, I'm like, this is weird because like I'm in the lead, so let me just throw my tokens randomly in places and not fight because even though I'll get more tokens or a higher score, it's longer time. So I was trying to find the balance of like, how do I play this thing speedrunning? This is new to me.
And that's what's fun though, when a game is capable of having that many layers. You know, like when it's not, you could play it multiple ways. It just makes it so much more fun and so much more unique. Just from
For sure.
any gameplay perspective, not just from content perspective. I don't know what to expect with this person. So I don't know what to put in this deck.
I don't even know. I played this game multiple times, and I just keep forgetting what everybody has.
Oh,
And maybe that's good, because it allows me to play the game feel like it's brand new every single time.
It's an older lady. How hard can she be?
that's what you're trying to make us think, right? Let our guard down, then
But
you get in there.
Tundra. This is the Tundra. Oh, so maybe some questions about some of the things that we could add. Somebody mentioned having the name of the region listed somewhere. You find that would be something interesting? Do you want to know what these places are called, or?
Yeah, I mean, it would
Doesn't
definitely
matter.
be helpful for referring to it, like if you had a question or if you wanted to discuss strategies for a specific region or a specific person, or again, like when you implement other modes or anything like that eventually down the line, it would definitely be helpful to be able to, because right now I would just call this the snow area and be like, oh yeah, I'm in the snow area. Is this just bonus gold if you beat this spot? That's all this is? Okay. It's not
I don't know.
a damage modifier? It looks like it's bonus gold, is what I
Maybe
would be
it weighs
assuming.
you down and makes you slower. Makes you go second.
It makes you go second every time, right? That's one thing I've noticed too, by the way. And maybe somebody else has picked up on it, or maybe somebody else has noticed. Have I lost the coin toss every single time?
It's funny. You I don't know if you've lost it every time, maybe, but that's on purpose because you don't want to go first.
No, I know.
Fun.
I was gonna say I've gone first, I think, one time, and the one time I did, I'm like, man, this sucks.
But every single, not every single, but most people will say, "What the heck? Why do I never go first? I don't like that." And they won't realize until they do go first, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I don't want that anymore."
Okay, so but it is by design, is what you're saying for the most part? It's like heavily favored.
Yes, it is.
Okay, that makes sense. Because I'm like, why have I lost every time? I mean, I don't mind because I want to go second, but it's confusing.
Right. It's all about that last move, right? The last moves can save you, and if you're going first, then you got to think about where can I put my last token to block off any potential captures and things like that.
So this is going to be just like a neutral fight.
You beat a 6 with a 5. That was cool.
Yeah, but now... Okay, well, at least I can beat this. Okay.
Right. You can put out the fire by covering with dirt.
Yep.
Or poop.
Put out the fire with poop, yes.
I mean, that would work, so...
How else do people do it when they go on campfires? I mean, camping.
I don't go outdoors. I don't know.
Yeah, so I think the biggest challenge for us as you keep going, and we mentioned this a little bit before, is that notion of what do you see new, in addition to new creatures, new evolutions and stuff like that, new abilities. And it was always the question of, is it good enough to just have one new feature? And I think at the conclusion that we came down to, which I hinted at a little bit before, is one, you're giving yourself enough time to understand what this new mechanic is by playing it against the entire region. And two, in order so that you can digest the information. And two, these fights are never the same. Doesn't matter how many times you fight them, they're never the same. So I never get bored of fighting somebody because I might lose. I just won 5 times in a row and then I made a mistake and I lost. So now I got to go back and get my token
Yeah.
and things like that. So it's it's one of those things that was really hard to see at first until we started to play test and just watch people play. And we had somebody stream the game, and all they did was they built up a party. And it didn't matter that the party was weak against the person that they were going to go to. They just wanted to keep that party. And they would level that party up and add more arrows and all that stuff. And that was surprising because it showed us that they can still have the opportunity to learn the mechanics, learn how to play the game, digest the information, and still come victorious, even if they don't. Oh, I'm gonna fight against somebody who's all water. Let me bring all grass. No, they didn't do that. They're like, okay, I'll bring a couple of fires, a couple of waters, a couple of grass, a couple of whatever, and that's how they chose to fight, and they won. So it's. I think we created a way for people to have the ability to express themselves that way without feeling overwhelmed with just new mechanics after new mechanic after new mechanic. And the game never feels, in my opinion, right? It never feels boring. Because if it did, I would say, hey, Drums, let's change it. I don't want to put a boring. Although the fear is that because we've seen so many people play the demo, that the beach is the perfect region, and the other regions are not as good because we haven't seen that many people play it. But now we get to see you play it, so we can learn and adapt.
Oh yeah, no. Again, like I've said, like it's really well designed. That the farther you go, the more you learn, and it never feels like you're. It never feels, to me at least, it hasn't felt like I'm not able to keep up. That's the best way to say it. Like I'm definitely able to keep up, and I'm evolving and learning myself, like learning new techniques, and I feel like I'll be even more streamlined at it when I'm not trying to think and talk at the same time.
Where do you think? Where did you get stuck the longest? Would you say was it on that Blake character?
Yeah, it was where we started the stream today. Yeah.
Okay.
And again, it was only because I wasn't paying attention to the Trump rules. So as long as you pay attention to the Trump rules, I don't think there's really any issues. And again, like you said, it's all right there. It's just not something that was blatant to me because I need glasses.
Nah.
Oh, I wanted
You gotta get good at it so that we can eventually do PvP and you can show us your skills.
Yeah, no, I'm very excited for PvP. Yeah, I'll try to make sure I learn more of the advanced techniques because again, I've just been kind of skating by on making sure I have the higher number at the end.
And I'll make sure not to add any like developer advantage or any shortcuts like the Konami code that would just give me instant win or anything like that. Don't worry about it. Well, that is, I joke about that, but that is one thing that I miss in games, like cheat codes and Easter eggs that you can unlock and all that stuff. And I keep joking around with the Konami code, and I'm gonna have to add it and make it do something. I don't know what it will do, but
yeah, it should just pop up on the screen and say "good job."
give you an achievement, a hidden achievement. You have unlocked the oldest Easter. I don't know, something.
Thank you for subscribing to the channel, and again, chat, you guys have all been fantastic. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate all of you. I'm sorry I haven't answered any chat. I've been focusing on the game and talking. But from what I've seen, yeah, Nelson, you especially have been keeping up on it. And I just wanted to make sure I was focusing on communicating with you guys so you guys could get out the information that you wanted to get out. And so we could learn a lot more about you guys and the game.
Yeah, if there's any questions that we haven't answered or any yeah, I'm looking at the chat. Just let me know. I'm always happy to answer why we made a decision, what decision we're wanting to make next, and so on and so forth.
Okay, yeah, that should work. It was like I did not pick the right corners, but finally got the right piece.
Oh, actually, that ability that the lizard has is my favorite. I forgot about that one. The extra combo.
Yeah,
Because you can be just about to lose, and one of those guys can just change everything. And when that lines up, it's awesome.
it's very nice. What does this hand mean? Temporary.
It's a slapping ability. I love the slapping ability.
Mimic, yeah. Ah, okay. Let's see here. I know I'm
That
lower,
one
but
is
I'll get
challenging.
the trump.
The mimic ability is challenging because
Thank you, Chris. Welcome.
you can totally do. There's some abilities that you can take advantage of, and then there's some abilities that don't really help you because they're passive abilities. But I still like it, and I just call it slapping ability over high five ability.
The high five ability, yeah. It's really good. I really want to take that slot up there.
Drums, you should answer that question that Fox Hollow Games posted.
Oh, it wasn't intentional. I mean, we wanted it to be uniform and everything to look similar, but I am not an artist, so I mean, you might look at these tokens and think that they look cool, and maybe, but I'm not an artist, and especially if I were to do people, I couldn't do people. So the people themselves were done by someone else. I just did the critters, and that's why, yes, they are a little jarring when looked next to each other. However, my way out of that for this game is to say, well, these things on the tokens, they're not actual critters. They're stickers. They're pictures. So they look like pictures, and the people look like people. And that's what I'm sticking to until we have the resources and the financial to actually, have a nicely uniform artworky game.
So if you're an artist, an illustrator, and you're willing to do pro bono work, reach out to us.
Oh, that's why that's flashing. Okay, I'm like, why is that flashing?
I don't know if this is getting too personal, and Drums, feel free to stop me, but at the very beginning of the stages of making this game, Drums was doing a lot of the graphics overall for everything, because it's for the people. I think for the people, we always had some asset pack that we found that we bought. But I looked at it and I said, hey, we could have this asset pack that we pay for. Somebody made the work. It's really good artwork. It looks good. And we can just focus more on the design of it. Or you can spend time putting things together. Which one do you want to do? And, I think you struggle a little bit with that, right, Drums? Because you were so used to putting everything together yourself by hand that the idea of just taking something that somebody else made kind of took a little bit of time.
Yeah, because we're used to game jams, or we were, and I'm used to it being small. The scope is small in a game jam. It's not a complete game. It's an idea, and the graphics don't have to be amazing because everyone knows you put it together in 48 hours. So there is that element to it, and that's why I usually, built everything. And this was like, okay, well, this scope is really big now, and we have a lot to do. So I don't want to take months putting together some graphics for, a game that we don't really know where it's going yet. We don't know how big it's going to be. We don't know. This is our first release. Does that mean it's going to be a little simple, quick release, or is this going to be, a big project? We didn't really know. So, yeah, I mean, I had to kind of pick my battles and choose what I wanted to work on. And so I just chose, hey, let me really work on the levels, the abilities, the other things in the game other than the graphics, because if the game is fun, no one's going to care about the graphics, right? That's what I hope for.
Except Fox Hollow Games, he's just going to keep calling it out.
That's okay.
I didn't get the level.
I didn't see what was the
Oh,
percentage.
for the height.
Yeah, it was what was that? It was 420s. So it was 80, yeah.
See, that's what we were talking about. There's conversations about keeping track of that and making sure that you don't lose too many times in a row.
Like a pity factor.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Let's make sure the player feels good.
Yeah.
Or just like a hidden modifier, an extra 5% that exists that you know, because that's how it feels. That's the truth. I know we mentioned it earlier with the dice rolls. That's how it feels. I mean, when you look at 90%, you see 100% in your brain. That's what it feels like it should be. You
Oh,
shouldn't
yeah.
lose if it's 90. It's too close to 100, but that's not how math works. So it's just finding that balance.
Yeah, no, and again, it's something that is completely acceptable. Like again, like you said, your mind will go to one thing, but you should always think in the back of your mind, hey, there's a chance it's not going to work still.
And
So now you're in that hard.
I was just gonna say, the more people that play too, the more you're gonna get those bad streaks. I mean, that's gonna happen mathematically. It's someone's gonna get multiple bad rolls, multiple bad tinkers in a row, and for that person, it's gonna feel like the end of the world. Like, what happened? What did I do to deserve this? When really, it's just random chance. It's gonna happen the more people play. So any little modifiers we can do or little tweaks to make it feel like people are getting what they expect. That works. It's funny. It reminds me of, I think it was iTunes that did it. They used to have their random mode, their random shuffle mode. It used to be actually random, but people would complain that it kept like hitting similar songs or artists or whatever, like in
Yeah,
a row. And so they had to fake the randomness and make it less random to make it feel more random, and that's what we're doing.
had to fake the
It's all an
randomness.
illusion.
Yeah.
All an illusion. Yeah, but that's the learning, right? You want to create. It's all about the perspective from the player, right? It has nothing to do with how things should be, because this is how things work in real life. It's from the perspective of the player. What expectations do they have? So that's why I like the balance that Drums and I have. He focuses a lot on this is how things should be, and I focus more on this is how the players will perceive it. And even though we might have some heated arguments, it's good, because then we can come to a compromise where we don't lean too much on just giving everything to the player, while at the same time allowing Drums to, allowing. I lost my train of thought there. Sorry, somebody was asking me a question. But yeah, so it was more of just finding that happy balance of here's how things should be because this is how life works, versus here's what players expect when they play a game. So it's been a really good learning experience.
That's really good too. Again, you guys are just so receptive, and it's refreshing.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, I think the next thing for us in this game is to figure out what long term, right? Because you're right now you're in the snow biome or the tundra, so that's number 4, right? So yeah, I forget. I look at Drums because
There's
Drums
four.
is the one that.
It's 4.
This is number 4. As you progress, right? I think more of Drums focuses a lot on the first impressions that the game gives you, which is great, right? I need that. I need somebody who says when you play this for the first time and you're uncovering things and you're learning what your experience should be and all that stuff. So it's really good at that, and I want him to be good at that. And I think more about the subsequent playthroughs. When I'm done playing this game and now I understand how the game works and I want to go back through it and play a little bit faster or do the challenge rounds like you've been saying, what should my experience be? And so that's the one thing that's kind of missing. That's the information that I wish I could have more of. People that have finished the game, Do they feel content? They're like, I'm good. I don't have to play anymore. Do they want to go back and just try a different starter pack, a different strategy? Are they waiting for the PvP and that will revive some of the interest back in the game? Like, how do we keep the game interesting beyond that first experience?
Well, yeah, it depends on the depends on how quickly people go through it, and if they're into the collection aspect of it and everything too. I'm into the collection aspect, I'm into the challenge run aspect and everything, and um I feel like there's a lot of content here to keep me busy for as long as it takes for PvP and stuff to come out. Personally, that's how I feel. So it is
There we go.
probably
It's hard to
challenging.
unmute myself.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was gonna say it is probably challenging if
No.
not everybody's thinking about playing a game a different way as well, because not everybody thinks of challenge modes. Obviously, like people will just think, "Hey, this is how the game's meant to be played. I played it that way. I
Yeah.
beat it." But again, with as long as you're out there and relaying the information as often as you guys are, then when an update comes out, people will come back for the update. I feel like, because when it's this good of a game and this fun and this addictive, why wouldn't you come back? I mean, that's my thought at least.
And so what kind of sparked that to me is I was really into Resident Evil 4 Remake. So when it came out, I was like on fire, let's play it. I had watched people stream the game and all that stuff. I'm like, I'm good. So I went ahead and played it because I played the original one. So I was ready for play the remake. And I had a great time. Like, it was really good. Although there was a lot of stuff, there was a lot of sections in the games that they just felt like I just need to power through to get to the good stuff. And I never want that in my games. I never want to feel like, oh, I just got to get through this section to get to the good stuff. When I beat the game, I'm like, okay, cool. I've unlocked some things. I know how to play the game better. Let me go back into it and play through it and see if I can play faster and play better and have more fun. But what I found is that whenever I enter those sections that are like, oh, this is the part that I hate. I think if people have played Resident Evil 4, they probably just hate the part where you have to play against the regenerators. And there's no way to skip it. Like, there's no way to get around it. And I just put the game away. I played it through once. I played through it again. I got to that part and I just stopped playing. I said, no, I don't care about this game anymore. And I don't want that. I don't ever want to do that with the games that we make. I'm still the kind of guy that can pick up the Super Nintendo and play a quick game of Mario World. I can just play the whole thing, or play enough of it and get a good feel for it and feel satisfied and walk away. And that's what I want to try to achieve. But because mainstream games nowadays is like, here's a cool story, here's everything, here's the cinematic experience, and then you're done and you're supposed to move on, and you pay $70 for that. I think people have just developed this, they've been conditioned that this is what games should be. It's either a roguelike, where everything is random every single time and you fail and you keep playing over and over again until you get good at it and they become really good for streaming, or they just have a really super compelling, makes Hollywood run for their money story, and then that's it. So I think we were faced with that challenge of, this game is not any of those things. So how do we make it interesting?
Yeah, well, and again, I think you've done all the right moves so far, and there's so much room for the game to continue to grow. Because again, like you said, you could just implement more moves, more game modes, and that expands it. Down the line, you can put DLC packs, so there's new characters new creatures to collect. Like, there's a lot of possibilities for expansion in this game, and that's what I find personally exciting. And the PvP too is going to add a whole nother element, even if it is just friends based. Yeah, it's fine, because again, like streamers, like me and my community, we could have, like you said, like a community night where we're just facing off and have like little tournaments and stuff, and that could be a ton of fun and endless amounts of content, really.
and the whole "give me my token back." That's the one thing that we haven't quite decided yet. Whether you get a copy of the token or you actually remove the token, or we just give you that option. You know, you get to choose before you battle. This is more of an exhibition match where there's no looting, or there's looting but it's a copy, or no, I take your token completely. Maybe just leave it up to the individual player.
How's it going, Header? That was something too that I noticed, and I don't remember where I noticed it at, and I don't. Does it not tell you unless you actually go to fight them? It did actually tell me the guy that had 2 of my tokens.
Well, it's probably going to be Blake, isn't it?
Yeah, I probably, because that's the one that I fought the boat. Was he back on? He's on the second island, right?
Yeah, he's the one before the boss.
This guy, right? Yeah. So does it, there it is. Okay, yeah. So when you're on this screen, it tells you, hey, this guy still got 2 of my tokens sitting there. And it's like, oh, you can go back and get your revenge on these people too if you want to get your stuff back. So that's a pretty cool feature too. You might have been
Always good to have revenge in your game.
yeah. Nope, she's got one of my things too. Yeah, I was like, I thought I've lost on the first island a few times here. Again, when I was still kind of learning the ropes. Yep, I lost to this guy once too. Some of these though are it's like, do I want to go back for that? You know, like not really. But I mean, that's a really cool feature.
Right. I think that was the main reason we didn't like advertise it on the level select screen or really point out, hey, this guy has your token, get it back, because you probably don't even want to. Even if you beat them and it pops up in the looting, there might be one right next to it that's just better. So they're not like special like a Pokemon would be. You know, they're just kind of like Nelson said in the beginning. They're interchangeable. They're meant to be thrown away. You know, at some point.
Yeah, and except for when you get those first rare ones that you're like, you know, I still only have one or two koalas here, right. And it's like I don't want to ever use these guys because they're adorable and I don't want to lose them.
Or a shiny. If you get a shiny taken, oh man, you want to loot that back.
Yeah, I'm not playing my shiny. Well, again, he's only a level 3 right now too. I know I can level them up now too. So like, I don't know, maybe that's something worth investing in, trying to eventually collect enough to level him up and then max out all his size, like I can make the ultimate shiny. Like that's something you could do too, which sounds really more fun the more I talk about it out loud. Like, but I'm trying to save my gold now because I'm like, I see another shop evolution coming up here, and I'm like, I kind of want to save my gold like I did the last time to blow it all on the next shop upgrade.
See, and that was one of the things that I wanted to make sure to do, right? So you come into the map and you look to see what's ahead, and you know, like, oh, that's the Tinker house, and that's the shop hut or whatever, and there's a treasure chest. So it's like I want to keep moving forward because I want to see what tinkering options I'm going to get, what booster packs am I going to get, what's going to be in that chest. And I love that. It gives you something else. I think it gives you the motivation to move to the next battle.
Yeah.
Because you want to see what's there.
I definitely just don't have the mind capacity to continue on though, for the rest of the evening. No, like I was already starting to fall apart there in that last match, and I'm in such a winning streak. I don't want to lose. So
yeah, a lot more than I actually thought it was going to be played. So that's awesome to watch you go through the full desert region too.
Well, I appreciate you guys being so talkative too. Like that's what kept it going. Like I loved hearing your stories and your insights and hearing about how game development works, and it's been really fascinating. So I didn't want it to end, but at the same time now I'm like, I don't have any more gameplay left in me. So
it's a good stopping point anyway. I actually have to get going. So
okay, perfect timing then. Thank you guys again so much. It's really a fantastic game, and there is a link in the description, everybody, by the way. If you haven't picked this game up yet, make sure you pick it up. Go to the link in the description to either buy the game or at least try the demo, and I think you've seen enough gameplay here tonight where you should know that you definitely want the game. Get the game. So go get the game now. It's available $14.99. And it's fantastic. And thanks to everyone that's been chatting. Again, I'm sorry I've been being the interviewer, so I haven't been responding to chat, but I appreciate all the new subscriptions. I appreciate everybody that's been here chatting. Everybody's been very fantastic, very supportive. You guys are great, and I know the developers appreciate you guys as well. And then you guys want to plug socials and Discords and all that stuff where they could find you guys?
Can I paste the link of Discord in here? I mean, I can do that.
You can paste it. See, I don't. Sneaky yells at me all the time for this. I don't know. I don't know why maybe it's because I'm not monetized yet. So if you put it in my Discord right now that I'm looking at, I can in our little 3-person chat in Discord, I can repost it into the YouTube channel.
Okay, yeah, I'll do.
So let me do that.
Other than that, I think I don't know if there are there. I mean, Nelson, you know the
We have-
socials.
Well, we have the YouTube channel, so you can keep track of all the shorts and laugh with everybody else that's been playing the game. We have X, not Twitter. I was going to call it Twitter. We do have X, where we try to post upcoming changes and posts. It's at Particle Sun Games. And yeah, the Discord is going to be the best place to know what's coming up, what's been released, and to give feedback and help us make the game even better. And thanks everybody for watching and playing.
Are you posting the link for me to copy?
I'm getting it.
Okay. You were starting to cut out too. Drums.
Sorry, I'm getting the link.
It's going to post the link, yeah.
Yeah.
But Crispy, if this goes viral, then I'll put your name in the credits.
Oh, that's super awesome. I appreciate that. I'm already very happy with the. Again, for me, I'm very happy for the amount of views that the Quick Look got. It was getting, I think it's up to like almost 300, something like that, which is really good for me personally. Again, so smaller YouTuber, so
Cool.
I was very happy about that. Because I was worried, I wanted to make sure it did well for you, you guys, because I want this game to succeed. I'm having a blast with it, and I want it to succeed too. I think that's
Yeah, and that makes us happy.
That's very kind of you to do this, so thank you.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
And thank you, Fox Hollow
anytime.
Games, for introducing to you.
Yeah, definitely. Joe is awesome. Thank you again so much for getting us in contact. And again, I want to do this again. I do plan on streaming this more too, because I want to actually complete the game on stream and probably end up making it like a regular challenge run eventually. And definitely, like you said, when you get the PvP going, then we definitely have to have a PvP night together.
Yeah, no, that'd be great. And then let us know how we can make the challenge round even more fun.
Definitely, yeah. We've already discussed a lot of possibilities already, and I'm sure you guys have some fantastic ideas for the future, and it's just all really exciting. It's really cool. Had a blast. Thank you guys so much for your time.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
And thank everybody again for being here. And I stream here almost every day at 4 p.m. Eastern normally. And if you join my Discord, link in the description, that's where you'll get early access to when and what I'll be streaming. And right now, because this was the end of the week, we don't have anything else scheduled until Tuesday and Thursday, which is our normal Dragon Quest Monsters challenge runs. But there'll be a new schedule being posted pretty soon. And even if you're just following the channel, I put it in the community tab as well. I actually use the community tab a lot. I love it because I don't like social media. So the only social media I use is YouTube. But thanks again, everybody. And until next time, always remember, Stay crispy.